Welcome, everybody, to tonight's coverage of the GRLCS Semifinals. I am one of your illustrious hosts, Whatubritty, and I am joined by my lovable friend, Tallbird. How are you doing tonight, Tallbird?
I'm doing fantastic. Looking for an exciting game.
Looking to an interesting match. We have on the blue side IDS and on the red side Lamppost. We are already heftily into the draft phase, and immediately what I'm loving out of Lamp is they have learned from the mistakes of past LCS players, and on the red side, they've banned Ornn.
I'm super excited to see a Karma ban.
No Karma this time around, but we do have the Jinx on the blue side first pick. Not too shocking to see that one. Still been a monster throughout the meta, as we have seen. And on the red side, the response is going to be the Ezreal and the Syndra. Not champions that we're seeing super prevalently recently, so this must be much more of a comfort pick for Lamppost.
I am excited to see what the idea is behind Syndra. I know that's an interesting response to Syndra. I know Syndra's pretty much all she really has is a whole bunch of burst damage, and generally there's a couple of other champions who can do most of what she can a little bit better. She just leans really hard into her niche, so she can pop off really well. It's just she has to pop off, and they answered with Victor, who does much the same thing with a bit harder CC.
Yeah, Victor has a little bit more of that scaling factor, but I would say Syndra's burst damage is a little bit stronger in that early to mid game around those jungle mid 2v2s. The response from IDS on the blue side is also going to be the Nautilus paired up with the Jinx. Classic bottom lane combination. If you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times this season. Nautilus goes in, Jinx gets to free fire, and Jarvan is the hover right now. I would actually really like to see this Jarvan locked in, because it also means that we have a pretty lopsided draft at the moment.
I am curious to see what the jungle's response is going to be to Jarvan. Jarvan is just a brutal early game character.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, with that 2v2 power that Syndra brings, I think it's going to be really difficult for anybody paired up with Victor to match against that Syndra Jarvan. Like early to mid game, level 6, they pick one target and they don't allow them to play the game. We'll have to see what IDS can come up with in the jungle. Maybe they just look for something that's going to affect other lanes aside from that mid lane. Maybe look to protect the bottom side. For now, they are going to be banning away the supports, taking away the Tahm Kench, that safety that Ezreal has, alongside the Tahm Kench would be pretty potent. So seeing that one banned out, not too shocking. The Garen ban away from Lamppost, I think, is a bit more interesting, though.
I honestly think the Tom Kinch should be talked about a little bit more. I definitely see Tom Kinch going much less a support and a lot more of a top laner in the recent patches. Generally, he's one of the most oppressive top laners against an extended trade. So it makes me think that they're going to go for a pokier individual like a Singed or something along that lines. Obviously, they're not going to go Singed, but
Saw
someone
the chat, however.
a character like that.
We get it! The Renata Glask lock-in. I'm so excited that I finally get to cast this character because I've been playing her for ever since her release, and she feels simultaneously incredibly strong and incredibly weak. So I'm interested to see what Lamppost can do with this pick. And I think matched up with the Ezreal,
I was
is going
right.
to make for
That is a
very oppressive bottom lane. The Malphite is the hover right now for IDS. It's a pretty safe blind top laner. There's a good amount of AD threats with the Ezreal and the Jarvan, and generally, you'll be wanting to pick up an AD top laner. Those are the ones who are in favor right now. So the Malphite lock-in seems like it'll be pretty good against the comp that Lamppost is building up. We'll have to see what they want for their jungle pick, though, as we wait on the last little ticks of this countdown.
Makes sense that they decided to ban Tom Kinch if they were going to go Malphite.
Tahm Kench does have a fairly good matchup into tanks, and if you wanted to flex him into the support, he's also fairly safe with the Ezreal, and just the ability to take whoever has the depth charge on them and just pick him up, give him a giant shield, make them a lot safer. Good counter to Nautilus. The Rengar is going to be the lock-in for IDS. This is a jungle champion
Now
who's been changed around a couple times now.
That's a Silas top lane.
That's a hover. It hasn't been locked in yet. We'll have to wait and see what they actually end up locking in. I don't think it's going to be the Silas, but I guess it would be a favorable matchup into Malphite. Just the combination of that Kingslayer and the Ultimate Hijack, and it is going to be locked in. The Silas counterpick into the Malphite. I actually really like this. I think this is a pretty smart draft advantage for Lamp.
We have decided that we need to end the game in less than 25 minutes if we are Lamppost.
Lamppost, yeah, the comp is definitely spiking around that 2.5 item power spike with the Ezreal, with the Silas and the Syndra. Jarvan is going to be able to help them get to that point. But if the game goes late, I was talking about this in chat last time, and it got memed a little bit, but they do have Jinx and Victor, and I've heard those champions are pretty good when it gets to the late game.
Jinx in full build is oppressive. She will just two-shot Ezreal. And for someone who is mostly an attack speed character, that is absurd.
Yeah, and with the added safety that Malphite and Nautilus bring as these frontliners, it's going to be really difficult for Silas and Jarvan and even Syndra to actually be able to access the backline and attack the Jinx and the Victor. The Rengar feels a little out of touch, maybe trying to dive the backline with the Malphite, but I do at the very least like the idea.
The Rengar is a peculiar choice, just simply not one of the stronger junglers this patch. These last
I haven't been able to see him as much since the changes came through. I'm gonna have to refer exactly to the patch notes to remember exactly what they had changed about him on 12.6. I know on 12.7 he got a very slight nerf to his tower pushing abilities because his side laning was a bit too oppressive, but they did increase his W magic damage overall, which means that his jungle clear is going to be a tiny bit faster, not a ton. But Rengar's changes in the past patch or two have actually made him, I wouldn't say like an incredibly strong jungler, but a lot more consistent, and I would say a lot easier to execute on.
Definitely. I am rather excited to look at this Renata Glosk and how she performs in the bot lane, because you were talking about it earlier. Renata's a very, very, very powerful champion, but very similar to how Kayle or Jax operate, but even to a greater extent, Renata relies exclusively on levels, because most of her things just don't scale.
Yeah, she doesn't scale incredibly well. Her passive scales with level more than it does with AP. The ratios on her E and her Q are practically abysmal. Most of her power does come from the W ability, the bailout, and with the hostile takeover, that ultimate ability to berserk the enemies. And especially with champions like Rengar and Jinx, if you get a good berserk off in a fight, even in the late game, when your team comp has started to scale away, the Jinx and the Rengar have gotten to their items, which could make it a little bit more dangerous for them to take these straight-on 5v5 fights.
I do not believe that Rengar is going to be significantly impactful in a Renata ult. I don't think he's just gonna walk to people. You definitely need ranged as a character or to be an ulted Yi, and that's pretty much the two individuals that Renata ult is fantastic for.
All
Jinx
very
will
dependent on the
absolutely
positioning, but the Jinx, yeah, is going to
will
be
just
a
tear
real
everyone
problem.
apart. Jinx is gonna have to do very well on her positioning, or simply buy a Banshees. Or
I'm
the
also.
equivalent.
It could be an Edge of Night, but I don't
I
think
was
you
gonna say,
really want
or
to be buying
equivalent.
that as an AD carry. But either way, I do think it's going to be. I like the idea of the bailout here with some of these backline divers like the Jarvan and the Sylas, because Sylas especially heals so much. Already super difficult to peel off of these less mobile carries like the Jinx and the Victor. So combined with the bailout, with the extra life that they essentially get and the amount of time that they can output more consistent damage, which is what Sylas likes to do, maybe that's enough time to actually get the Jinx down low enough to kill or even trade with the bailout.
They're having a discussion in Twitch chat. They're wondering what Lamp's win condition is, and personally, I think Lamp's win condition is primarily Silas. If Silas can be oppressive enough against Malphite, Silas roams very well, and Silas can pop off really hard in that 15 to 25-minute mark.
Yeah, Lamps. I think Lamps' win condition is the game timer. If they can win before that 25, 30-minute mark, before like IDS has really gotten to scale up and get the items on the Jinx, or even if they can shut down the Jinx and the Victor early, buy themselves more time, maybe get to an early Dragon Soul, if they high roll something like an Infernal or a Hextech Soul, they could easily snowball their way into a win. But if that clock starts to tick further and further into the late game, Jinx is only going to get scarier, Victor's only going to get scarier.
I'm very excited to personally see Cloud Soul.
Yeah, knowing our luck, it will be a Cloud Soul roll, which would feel terrible for Lamppost, as that's not one of the most impactful souls in the game. Though, it can still get you to an Elder Dragon, and if you get that early enough, you can definitely, again, snowball your way into a victory. But we have seen teams lose with both Cloud and... not Cloud, with both the Soul and the Elder Dragon buff attached to them. So... I want to give this draft difference to IDS. I feel like they've not only picked up strong champions for each of their roles, but also just a very safe, easy to execute on 5 versus 5 comp.
True, but the problem with the safe to execute 5 versus 5 comp is that any comp that can rely on an individual's ultimate ability, it just Silas gets to do it better.
Yeah, that's the concern. The Sylas into the Malphite ulti, or even into like the Nautilus ulti, or potentially. I actually don't know exactly how Sylas interacts with Rengar ulti. Does he get the jump?
I do not believe so, but I also think he's not gonna grab the Rengar ult. I don't think he cares.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's better. It's definitely better for him to get Malf not or Victor ult.
Yeah, Malphite, Nautilus, or Victor ulti are definitely the premier ultimates in this particular game, especially just because Malphite ultimate has that good scaling, gets to have the effectiveness of that team-wide knockup. It's a fairly good ult. As I'm looking at it, it looks like Sylas does actually get to get the jump out of the Rengar ulti. At least that was what it was like on release, and I haven't heard of any changes since then. So if Sylas wanted better access to the Jinx and the Victor, if he's having trouble getting to that backline through the Nautilus and the Malphite, it's a potential steal as well.
We've got to. If you had to predict who's going to win, who are you predicting?
I'm going to put my points down where my mouth is, and I'm going to say that IDS is going to beat the clock, so to speak. I don't think, even with the snowballing advantages that Lamppost can build, I don't think it's going to be enough to end the game fast enough to get away from that ticking time bomb that is Jinx, that is Victor.
That is a great point. I do believe that they're not going to be able to, especially because Jinx isn't a. She's not a terrible character early on. She's just an oppressive character late game. You can have a Jinx, and if she gets a couple of her excited off, she will just obliterate you, even with no items. Her attack speed buff from her machine gun when she hits 7 is insane.
Yeah, the Pow Pow buff, plus the Get Excited, plus any other advantages that she can get just from like positioning, lethal tempo, Legend Alacrity. Just, there's a lot going on that can influence the Jinx ability to ruin these team fights. for Lamppost and make it so that they are practically unplayable. We are going to be getting into game pretty shortly. I want to ask, as we're getting into the game, do you think that it is also IDS's game to win, or do you think Lamppost is going to be able to have that early game advantage enough?
It all hinges, on my opinion, on Silas. If Silas is good enough, Silas will be able to end the game close to single-handedly.
I think it's interesting that you're putting more focus onto the Silas than you are to the Syndra Jarvan. Like we're seeing in chat, a lot of people are talking about the J4 Syndra combo, just these easy ganks even post level 6. Just the ability to single out a one target and say, hey, no playing the game, not allowed.
Their team comp is IDS's team composition is very immobile. The only thing is people always just don't put a whole lot of attention towards the top lane. Top lane's always an island, right? If you can be oppressive in the top lane, you'll push hard enough that people, if they ignore you, they're just going to lose. If the difference in the top lane is extreme enough, it's not even a contest.
Yeah, especially if a champion like Silas does get ahead.
If Silas gets ahead, God forbid, just matches Malphite. But if Silas gets significantly ahead, that is game. Silas will tear everyone apart.
Randy Newman's going to pick up 20 gold for himself, just get that free auto attack. Second Wind already throwing the game. Honestly, it's a disaster for IDS. They'll never be able to scale in time now. That gold advantage is just too much. I do want to take a look at the rune choice really quickly. I'm seeing 3 first strikes in this game. A little surprised that it's not 4, with Watercat also taking it in, opting to not take it in the mid lane. Ooh, nice ward clear from OG Roach. Going to deny the vision away from Slappy. Very well done by him.
I personally am very excited to watch this Nautilus go Even Shroud and be very sad.
I really hope that we don't see Even Shroud, because the more that I've played with it and the more that I've looked at it, the more like the damage that it just racks up over time
isn't good.
It's nothing. It's practically nothing. And it feels so bad because it could be such an interesting item.
You are infinitely better off with
Second Wind has the positioning here. Nice hook onto Randy Newman, taking lots of damage. Zalp getting free auto attacks, has the lethal tempo stacked. Randy Newman taking lots of damage. No summoners burned. Maybe with an ignite they could go for the kill, but it is just going to be the health bar trade for now.
That is the issue with Renata, is Renata's great at engaging and just awful at leaving. You can just beat the crap out of Renata if you get her out of position.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people have opted for the Locket style of build with this Guardian rune, just trying to be as tanky as possible, because like you said, she does struggle to leave the fight once she gets into it. But if you can make yourself tanky with the Locket of the Iron Solari, with the Guardian Shield, with your own E-Shield, and even with the Bailout, if you have to use it on yourself, you can tank up a lot of time in the front line.
Personally, I always really enjoy using the Bailout as Riot kind of feels like it's intended, and use it more as an attack speed and move speed buff.
Second Wind with the early roam into the mid lane. Looks for the flash forward, but a nice flash away from the Leroy is gonna make sure that he doesn't die to that gank. But that ease, the flash burned away, and I think if you're trading Nautilus's flash for Syndra's, you've got to be happy as the Nautilus.
I am... Silas is pushing Malphite out from the top lane.
Not too surprising to see, just the extra magic damage, and Malphite likes to build armor. Not the most comfortable matchup for him until he gets that Tear of the Goddess. I do like that. I'm gonna say something controversial. I like that Malphite has Biscuits here, because I think he is gonna be going through his mana pretty quickly in this laning phase, and until he gets that tier, it's not gonna be super comfortable for him.
Well, Malphite's only...
We do have an early gank here. OG Roach walking in, a nice route onto Randy Newman. They know he does have the bailout on himself, but I think he is just gonna go down. They're trying to donate the kill over, but OG Roach is gonna pick up first blood with a dive in the top side as well. Slappy and Adamsuki engaging in. Nice flash away from Gem Top, trying to dodge away from the stun, but it's not gonna work. Slappy is gonna pick up that kill with the return gank on the top side.
Feels bad for Syndra, no assist.
Oh, Syndra didn't pick up an assist. That's really bad. Wow. Second Wind, looking for the hook onto Zealot. Not going to find it. Zealot just takes the 5 extra gold from the first strike and walks away. I did want to point out, because someone in chat mentioned it, the choice of first strike Ezreal here versus something like Press the Attack or Conqueror, given how prevalent the front line is going to be from Gem Top and Second Wind.
I think Ez is just trying to build up as fast as possible because he wants to end before 25 minutes, so the sooner he can get his items, the better off.
I do think this lane is going to be fairly difficult for him to actually get off effective first strike procs, and I think he'll be able to get it, but maybe just with like 5 or 10
only a not
proc. not exactly a lot of value coming out of the rune.
It's only on not. Jinx is gonna keep first strike down as often as possible with her W.
Yeah, the rocket distance and the zap makes it so difficult to actually get the first strike procs off, which is why I'm actually really enjoying seeing it out of junglers so far. Because generally, when you're going in for a gank, you're throwing your whole combo in anyway.
That's
You're not
true.
really going to be saving cooldowns for another part of the fight like you would be in the laning phase. So the junglers are going to get the most effectiveness out of the first strike rune that more people will really see. We do have a lot of action here in the mid lane already. Both supports have roamed their way up.
They
Randy
know Randy
Newman.
is there.
Yeah, they're paying the missing. He did walk over the Scuttlecraft vision, but Adam Suki's also going to be walking down. OG Roach is doing his Gromp right now. We'll have to see if they go for anything more, but I think Second Wind is just here to make sure his mid laner doesn't get in trouble. Slappy taking an aggressive trade. Might actually be able to look for the kill, but just stacks the Conqueror and walks away.
As Silas is more focused on keeping Malphite down and farming up so he can get his first little Everfrost.
Yeah, once he gets that first time power spike, even if Slappy can hit 6 before Gem Top is, suddenly the lane is from a slight advantage in Slappy's favor to a massive advantage in his favor.
That is true. Syndra staying very low in lane with how much friend she's got.
Oh, there's the flash forward from Watercat with the Chaos Storm! Gonna take down the Leroy in the solo kill. Like we're talking about, Leroy staying a little too close with 2 low health and mana. He has the Biscuit, but he didn't have the proc in time. That's a solo kill for Watercat. Oh, there's Slappy! Unstoppable forces in a certain direction. He might actually be able to kill Gem Top anyway. Flashes forward to pick up that kill in the solo. Solo kills traded from the solo laners across the board, but it is going to be the first dragon, the Mountain Dragon, going over to IDS.
Always feels bad fighting a Silas who's at a third health and then he's at 90%.
Yeah, Kingslayer is a really good ability, and with that first dragon roll of the mountain, especially in going in IDS's favor, I think that is bad news for Lamppost.
If Malphite can tank up, and especially Victor Jinx tanking up is a huge deal. Not doesn't really care, Not's already pretty much unkillable.
There is that, but I think it's also the point of this is going to delay Soul Dragon for Lamppost in any respect, especially because the second dragon is Hextech Dragon. We know it's not a Mountain Soul. We know it's not a Hextech Soul.
It's gonna be a Cloud! Yes!
Very impactful dragons that would be great to stack. But with the first dragon going the way of IDS, that delays the game by minimum 5 minutes.
And the Cloud Soul's gonna feel real bad for him, if they get it.
Honestly, I think if IDS rolls Cloud Soul, they're fairly happy about it. The extra movement speed and the positioning advantage that would come from it.
Jinx is gonna just toss out her ult for funsies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would not feel terrible. Jinx just getting the extra movement speed before she gets an excited proc, just to get away from the Jarvan.
That's actually a lot better. They all benefit significantly from the soul. Jinx with just enjoying move speed, not getting to chase his ulted target. Victor getting to slap the ult behind him and run away. Rengar, obviously. And Malphite, once again, just kind of obviously, if his ult isn't engaged, then being able to move faster after it's going to help.
Yeah, being able to reposition to get that perfect positioning on the E, attack speed, slow as many targets as possible. But we are talking pretty heftily into the future because there are still 3 other dragons that it could be.
Yeah.
It could be the Infernal or the Ocean, both of which would be also impactful.
They'd be very impactful. It's just not going to happen.
But I do think the fact that IDS gets the first dragon, given how much attention they are paying to the bottom side, is really good news for them. Because again, it delays the soul and the elder by another 5 minutes, gets them later into the game. It feels good for them to have because it doesn't accelerate the game, which is what Lamppost wants to do.
I'm very interested in the fact that Jinx is actually getting out CS'd by Ezreal, despite the fact that it's because Nautilus just hasn't been there for the majority of the time. Never mind, that makes sense now.
Yeah. Second Wind has been playing a lot of this roam game. He's already made 2 trips up to mid lane. One of them was spending a good amount of time up there, and Randy Newman so far has only made the 1, which means that Zalp is going to be a little behind in CS, but I wouldn't say the difference is that large. It's generally about 10-ish. Second Wind tries to flash forward, but hooks the minion. OG Roach wants to go in anyway. Pops forward, gets rooted down. There's the True Shot Barrage. Nice flash away, but Adamsuki's here with the Cataclysm 1-2. Zalp has to flash away, but he gets auto-attacked down. Adamsuki picks up that kill. It's a double kill for the jungler of Lamppost. OG Roach trying to run away. Adamsuki doesn't have the flag and drag up just yet. There it is. Doesn't land the knockup, but gets the slow. OG Roach has the cleanse and is going to be able to get himself out. But a nice counter gank from Lamppost means that they're going to get themselves 2 kills.
That was going to bring me to something else I was talking about in regards to a potential Cloud Soul, that is completely useless for Jarvan.
Yeah, it's not great for Jarvan. Leroy, again, out of mana in this mid lane. Watercat has the Chaos Storm, but doesn't want to go for the flash forward yet. Doesn't have it. Slappy has made his way into the mid lane, though. Steals the Chaos Storm away from Watercat. A nice sidestep. There's the Chaos Storm coming down onto the Leroy. Adamsuki is here just to try and make sure that his mid lane stays alive. Has to burn the flash to get away from it, but that is going to be Silas taking the kill. Adamsuki is also going to position perfectly to stop the Super Mega Death Rocket from getting to the Leroy as well. Great play from the side of Lamppost in this early game.
I am... Silas is 3-0. Uh-oh.
Yeah, this is the advantage that you were talking about for Silas in the early game. This is exactly what Lamppost wanted to see.
With his 4 stacks on Dark Seal.
4 stacks on Dark Seal, a solid 2k gold lead in their pockets overall. A CS lead for himself in the top lane as well, despite the fact that he roamed down to make that play happen. He's got his Everfrost in pocket. He's feeling very good.
It's very interesting that they actually didn't manage to get the first Drake, because they were at lead when the Drake was up and when it was taken. I think they just weren't paying attention, I guess. They didn't expect them to take it so fast.
I think it was around the time that the top dive happened. So Lamppost knew that they had sent their jungler and their mid laner up to the top side, which meant that IDS had control of the bottom side of the map, which meant that they were able to pick up the dragon. So
grabbing that Herald.
Objectives. Adamsuki wants to get in. There's the unstoppable force to knock him up. Plenty of damage coming through. I didn't see who got the smite up, but Adamsuki's going to live with a sliver of HP. Now Slappy wants it. Everfrost is going to get the root onto 1. Getting the damage down on the Watercat. OG Roach popped the ulti for himself. The Leroy is here. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to do plenty of damage. OG Roach popping in. Watercat is going to live with a sliver of HP from the Unleashed Power. There's the unstoppable force. A nice flash away from Gem Top, but Slappy's going to come in, go on a rampage against Watercat, getting over the wall into Gem Top as well. Has the Kingslayer, gets himself a double kill.
Yeah. We might be seeing a Magi's, which would be bad for IDS, that is.
Yeah, the Magi's could be an early pickup here, but if Slappy just wants to keep it consistent, I would love to just see him get to his tier 2 boots and like his second item as fast as possible, because I think a 10 stack Dark Seal you're feeling fairly comfortable about. You don't exactly need the Magi's. It would feel nice to have, but I don't think it's necessary. And with that, it looks like
it's Ocean Soul. That's so exciting.
We're not seeing the soul, the Cloud Soul coming up this game. We are going to have the Ocean Soul, and it looks like at the back half of that fight, Watercat was able to pick up the Rift Herald Eye, which means that IDS does get something out of that fight, even though they gave Slappy a couple of more kills.
Yeah, the Herald should be a pretty good. Never mind.
That's 300 gold in Watercat's pocket. I don't think that's a bad thing to look for, and it does mean that the Herald doesn't go in the pockets of IDS, doesn't accelerate the Silas anymore. So despite him getting a couple of kills, it's not more gold in his pocket. Really looking for the silver linings here. I'm doing my best.
That was an interesting pick. I don't know.
Adamsuki here defending his mid laner. I don't know how I feel about Leroy going for the Crown of the Shadow Queen in this particular game. I think he might be a little too worried about the Rengar and the Victor damage coming through. But you can see how confident Zalp is in this lane already, stepping up. Has the full Gale Force completed. He is feeling strong.
Victor actually, very interestingly, does do a ton of sustained damage, so I don't even think Shadow does particularly great against him.
Yeah, he does. He has that bit of burst up front with the first proc of the Death Laser and the first burst of the Chaos Storm, but then the consistent damage that comes afterwards is also significant. So I feel like I would have preferred if he was going to do a more offensive item choice, maybe take a rune like Phase Rush and just look to play a little bit safer with that full combo. But he took the Aerie to try and be more lane dominant. Speaking of lane domination, second wind going all in. There's the Berserk. Second wind is going to take a lot of damage from the Zalp auto attacks. Randy Newman flashes away. Gets the heal down on himself as well, but OG Roach doesn't want to let him get away with it. The exhaust comes through, but OG Roach picks up the kill anyway. Zealot has very little mana. OG Roach is going to hop in on him. Doesn't find the kill. But the true damage from the burn and the Super Mega Death Rocket is going to give OG Roach the double kill, which means overall it is a 2-for-1, except Watercat dies in the mid lane to Adamsuki's gank, which makes it a 2-for-2 across the map.
Silas wanted to TP in and help, so he just burned his TP.
Just a little too late, which means that Gem Top can grab a little bit more farm in the mid lane, just picking up the wave that Water Cat will be missing. Adamsuki is nearby if they want to go for it, but it is tank tank Malphite. Been playing too much ARAM. Tank Malphite, which means he'll be a little bit more difficult to kill.
I like that Silas has decided to just push bot lane. Are they switching?
Yeah, he teleported down, so they don't want him to recall and then run back up top lane. The laning phase at this point is over, so they're just gonna have Slappy sit in the bottom lane.
He's confident, but I don't believe that he's going to fare well in a 2v1 against Not and Jinx.
Well, this is going to depend on whether Second Wind is going to choose to roam again and try and leave Zalp to just free farm in the lane, just sit under tower and try and grab as much CS as possible, or if maybe Second Wind will walk up to Gem Top and see if he can help him out, or maybe they'll look to play in that 2v2. We'll have to see.
You really see how that Renata ult is just not very effective in its early stages, and still only good in the late stages because of an extremely fed ADC who can kill everyone else instantly.
Oh, Adamsuki once in. Cataclysm immediately flashed away from Zalp. Second Wind is going to bring the flash as well, and the Dredge line. Nice hop in from OG Roach is going to delete Zealot off the map. Gemtop gets his first kill of the game, and Randy Newman is going to pick up the tower with that last hit, giving himself that first tower blood, but it is 2 kills picked up for IDS.
Does Randy have 5? How many teeth do he have? Because 5 teeth now is 5 teeth is always a significant boost. But...
yeah, I wonder what the what OG Roach's Bone Tooth stacking is. If we can tab over to him really quickly just to check that Bone Tooth necklace.
But I am curious because I don't know. He's got the bare minimum takedowns required for it, so it'd be interesting if he's managed to pull that off.
Well, we know he doesn't because Slappy has no deaths on his side, so minimum he has 4, and Adamsuki doesn't have any deaths either, so minimum he has 3.
Okay, well we can be pretty confident that he has 3.
Even still, 3 of the Bone Tooth necklace stacks with 2 items in his pocket. He's going to be fairly dangerous knife cat running around. Essence Reaver on Assassins is something that we've been seeing a lot recently. Just the cheapness of the item and its ability to just be super effective. A nice knockback from the Leroy is going to deny OG Roach's engage. Slappy is holding on to that Nautilus ulti. Second Wind trying to get vision for his team. Looks like both these teams do not want to give up this dragon. Slappy wants in, though. There's the depth charge onto Water Cat. Just going to be able to flash away from it. Gem Top doesn't have his ulti, so I think that is going to mean that IDS has to give up this dragon, and this is just the second dragon stacked going over to Lamppost.
The Silas absolutely loves Ocean Soul. That will give someone who already has a pretty oppressive amount of sustain even more.
Yeah, including the mana sustain that Ocean Soul gives as well, which is going to make it incredibly difficult to stop Slappy on this Silas. The second Breath Herald has been started up, but Lamppost, feeling strong enough, are just going to walk right towards it and say, hey, IDS, you trying to take our objective? This one's ours. Thank you very much.
I'm taking it. We do see Renata going for her conventional.
It is second Rift Herald, so it's not the most influential objective in the game. It's going to maybe be used to take a second tower, potentially a third if they can get 2 charges off, but it's not the biggest deal in the whole game to lose. OG Roach wants in on Randy Newman jumping in. A nice hook away from Second Wind. The bailout gets denied. OG Roach just takes him down, gets stunned up. Maybe Slappy wants to find him. Pops the Rengar ulti for himself, jumps in. OG Roach has the flash. He's not popping it. Just going to get shut down. Watercat is going to pick up that one, but OG Roach is going to grab a kill for himself. Zealot finds the 1v1 in the bottom side as well. What is happening?
OG Roach actually picked up both kills. He got Silas's shutdown too.
Oh, that's really bad, because that's potentially 5 stacks on the Bone Tooth necklace for OG Roach. That's a 6-1 Rengar.
That is, I mean, unless he didn't get any credit for, I don't know if he's killed Syndra, but I do know that he's gotten 4 at least.
Yeah, that's 4 stacks minimum with 2 items and a lot of gold in his pocket. This is, I would not say a good situation for Lamppost. I thought for sure when that fight was engaging that it was just going to be OG Roach getting cleaned up, but no. Lamppost,
Rengar W too strong.
One.
Rengar W, the only thing that gives you more sustain than Silas.
Yeah, the fact that you can press it twice in a row with the third ability and then the empowered one as well, it's a lot of health coming back, which makes the assassin rather slippery and rather tanky, to the bane of my existence.
Picking up another serrated, that's a huge damage boost.
Yeah, and picking up the Mercury Treads means the Berserk will be less effective. Syndra and Silas will be less effective in their damage, as neither one of them has picked up any magic penetration yet. I do find it interesting that Adam Suki is opting for the Gore Drinker Death Stance build in this particular game. In professional play, we've been seeing a lot more of just the Chem Tank plus Zhonya's, just trying to be as tanky as possible, as cheap as possible. But Adam Suki is looking to fight a little bit more.
He is currently one of their biggest damage dealers. Him and Silas are pretty much the head honchos. I am interested in the Ezreal Prowler's Claw.
I was about to point out, Ezreal has opted for the Prowler's Claw. We've seen this on other poke champions like Varus in the past, ones who really just only care about the Mythic passive, just getting that extra flat penetration. I haven't been seeing it as much on Ezreal, though I've heard that it's being built, so we'll have to see how effective it is in this particular game.
So far, he's completely flat across the board. Silas just deciding the top lane is his again, and Malphite not having a choice in the matter.
Yeah, with Watercat showing bot lane and OG Roach being seen on the ward bottom side of mid lane, I'm sure Slappy feels very safe. Adam Suki wants to engage onto OG Roach, though, just going to get deleted. Zealot is going to pick up that shutdown gold, plenty of money into his pocket, and that's a big misstep from OG Roach.
That was an interesting choice for an assassin.
He was looking for the potential play, but he just didn't realize he was sitting on a ward. Gets caught out, very nicely collapsed on by Lamppost, and that's going to give them this first tier mid tower and potentially the second with Slappy rotating down with that Malphite ulti. There's the Malphite ulti, and Zalp is just going to get 100-0. There's the Berserk as well over top. The team fight is all in favor of Lamppost right now. Adam Suki gets bailed out. Maybe second win can die soon enough, but no, it cannot happen. Zealot doing lots of damage, gets the Prowler's Claw in, but misses his Q, cancels the autos, he doesn't get through. Watercat's gonna pick up that shutdown gold, and now the Victor is free, firing everywhere, looking to try and pick up the kill. Nice stun from Leroy is gonna mean that Watercat won't be able to pick it up just yet. Gets the slow, looking for damage on the Leroy, gets the speed up from his own Q. Second one once in, OG Roach is back in the fight though. Bailout is onto the Leroy, but it does not matter. That is an ace for IDS.
Very amusing that the death of OG Roach allowed them to win that team fight.
Yeah, OG Roach actually spawning up late enough because Lamppost delayed their engage by that much meant that he was spawning at the end of the fight to come and clean it up. With second wind being able to survive, I think Zealot canceling those auto attacks and missing that key was such a big deal because it meant that he could come back in for this re-engage and give IDS the confidence that they needed to now take this Baron. True Shot Barrage is coming in. Slappy maybe wants to get over the wall, but a nice smite from OG Roach. Slappy's flashing over. They want to try and get some return kills out of this. There's the Cataclysm from Adasuki. Slappy wants in. He's trying to get the damage down, but he's going to get crowd control down. Second when he gets picked up. Zalp surviving on a sliver of HP. Slappy trying to get in, but OG Roach gonna pick that one up. Adasuki fell as well. Trading a Baron for just your support feels pretty damn good if you're IDS.
This Rengar's getting very far ahead. And Victor's got his Shadow Flame. Victor's gonna hurt now.
I really don't like the Shadow Flame here, but he is on like 2.5 items, which feels really good for him. I just think there are probably better second items than Shadow Flame because it doesn't feel that great to build overall. But either way, this Victor is going to be feeling very strong, and with the Baron buff in their pockets, I think that's going to mean IDS might be able to take this. Gemtop is going to whip the Unstoppable Force, though. Randy Newman is dropping the hostile takeover. OG Roach is going to get picked up. Gemtop trying to flash away from it, but Zealot has the bailout on top of him. He's feeling good. Picks up his own shutdown gold. Now suddenly the Ezreal's back in place. Slappy trying to get forward into Zalp. A nice movement away with the Gale Force. Nice hook onto the wall from second wind. Slappy does have that Nautilus ulti, trying to save it for as long as he can, just in case he doesn't have to burn it. Has to bail on the top of himself, and that is going to be second wind picked up, and that's going to be the Dragon actually going over to Lamppost. I was wrong.
It only took Slappy 25 minutes to kill a record. So, about that Shadow Flame, what do you not like about it? I think it's a great pick into this composition.
I personally don't see a lot of value from the item in general. I think it is too expensive for the stats that it gives. I think in most cases, you would rather just have a Rabadon's or a Void Staff. Because flat penetration is only going to get you so far, especially because you have the Luden's Echo as well, which is giving you plenty of flat pen. Pretty much to make up for the fact that you're not getting the magic penetration boots, you've opted for the Mercury Treads instead. I just think the value that the item gives is low in comparison to others, but maybe we'll see the burst. Zealot has to flash and heal to get away from just the EQ from Victor.
Looks like the Shadow Flame's doing pretty good.
Well, I mean, when Victor's sitting on 2.5
that's the-
items and the
that's
80
the
carry
thing
without
is-
magic resist walks up, yeah, it's pretty good.
None of these individuals build magic resist. Jarvan will build a little bit, but none of these guys are tanks.
Yeah, I do think that is a point in favor of it, but I still think in most cases, Void Staff is going to have just that little bit more value to it, just for when the opposing team realizes how fed you are and does start to build that magic resist.
Right, in the rare instances that happens. Most of the time people just decide on a build and kind of go with it.
Well, we'll have to see. OG Roach maybe looking for Randy Newman here. He's going to hop in. Lots of damage on the support, but Amatsuki wants in onto Watercat, but where's the follow-up? There's no team behind him. He's going to get picked up. Gemtop picks up that kill. Slappy gets knocked up. Nice unstoppable force. He has the bail on top of him. There's the Berserk. Plenty of damage coming out from Jinx, but into the Nautilus, it's not going to be doing very much. Gemtop gets his second kill of the fight. Going to be able to walk away with the sliver of HP, who does get picked up. OG Roach hops in, picks up that kill. Watercat gets the shutdown gold onto Zealot, and that's going to be them walking away from that one. A very messy fight, but 2 for 3 in favor of IDS. Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't find Randy Newman.
So there we actually saw it in action. The Shadow Flame is excellent for one particular individual on their team. The Silas, who lives at low health for that Kingslayer, is experiencing the full brunt of Shadow Flame. That's a lot of magic pen for someone who doesn't have any magic resist. I think actually as of right now, Shadow Flame would probably give you more magic pen than the Void Staff would.
Only just barely, potentially. Adamsuki is going to be picking up the Hex Drinker for himself, so he's noticing the amount of magic damage coming out of Watercat and saying, maybe I should defend myself a little bit better. But I honestly was not a huge fan of that engage from him. It felt very overreaching when OG Roach was practically one-shotting Randy Newman.
He didn't have
opted
any...
for the all-in.
He did not have any backup.
Yeah, he went all in. His team was not behind him. He gets 100 to 0, and then the rest of the fight was essentially just a 4v5.
The decision from Silas to calm down and maybe go get some items before he just kills himself again is a good one. He was 5-0 and he's 7-4.
Yeah, it does not feel good to get those only 2 kills for the last 4 deaths that you've gotten. But we did see like the minimal effectiveness that the hostile takeover had versus the Jinx, even sitting on 2 items. She was hitting the Nautilus, who had W and Aftershock on. Just not enough damage coming through from the Phantom Dancer's second.
Not is just such a hard-to-kill individual. Even there, the only one who can really do much to him right now is Ezreal, who's building that lethality.
Yeah, he's got the lethality, and he's going to be getting his Sorola's Grudge fairly soon. This is going to be a 4-item Ezreal at the 27-minute mark, so he's going to be very powerful when this next dragon fight comes through, especially if he can finish this Sorola's before the dragon spawns. He has about a minute. I'm hoping that he'll have enough gold for the fight, because that would be such a huge turn for Lamppost, and might just give them the soul.
I'm curious how much cash he's gotten from first strike. It's got to be significant. The man has 11 takedowns.
Yeah, he's been getting plenty of money. He does now have the Sorola's in inventory, picks up the control wards as well. Good team player, but this is the Ezreal that we were worried about in the mid game for IDS. This is the one that's going to be able to run over the fight alongside Silas if they don't get him under control.
Which should be pretty easy, because I think Rengar will just instantly kill him.
That's if Rengar can get to him. OG Roach, for the most part, I think has been focusing more on killing Randy Newman and Leroy than getting this Ezreal picked off, which has allowed him to do as much damage in these teamfights as possible. Right now, both teams setting up for this dragon. IDS really doesn't want to give it away, and Lamppost really doesn't want to give it up. So we're going to be seeing the full 5v5. Gemtop has the ulti, second win, gets the flash poke in. There's the unstoppable force onto 2. The Berserk is going to be on the back line. OG Roach barely sidesteps it and looks for the jump onto the back line. The exhaust comes through. Zealot is going to be able to survive with the sliver of HP. Watercat doing as much damage to Adasuki as possible. Zealot survives. He's going to be able to get the damage through. Gemtop is going to survive with the back line as well. Slappy is finally in. There's the unstoppable force onto 2. He deletes Zealot off the map. Randy Newman trying to do as much damage to Watercat as possible. He didn't get over the wall to safety. Zealot gets over the wall, picks himself up 1,000 gold shutdown. Slappy finally goes down. Now OG Roach running a killing spree on this team fight. A double kill for him. Randy Newman, the only one to survive, and that's going to be the dragon for IDS.
OG Roach has noticed that you happen to fall below 1,000 HP and was wondering if you would like to donate the remainder.
Yeah, it turns out with a Collector and an Essence Reaver, Rengar, when he crits, really hurts.
Slappy. Yeah, that's the problem with Silas against an individual who likes to do burst damage is Silas, you like to be on low health, and well, as an individual who does a lot of burst damage, you'd like everyone else to be on low health. Not a great compromise.
Yeah, I do also want to point out, someone in chat pointed this out. Syndra is opting for 2 defensive items in a row, going for the Shattered, the Crown of the Shatter Queen alongside the Zhonya's means her damage is not going to be really hefty in these team fights. I was definitely a little worried when Second Wind just went all in for her. She's definitely not the target you're particularly worried about, but I guess if any 4v5 is a good 4v5.
The I noticed a lot. The Adam Suki had a huge difficulty.
Second Wind potentially caught out. There's the True Shot Barrage. He has the Aftershock on for himself. There's the bailout. The Cataclysm is immediately flashed away from. There's the Berserk with the Get Excited. Lots of damage coming through from Zalf, but not enough to pick up the kill. And that does mean with Lamphost's jungler taken out, that is going to be, I think almost for sure, the Baron going over to IDS. Randy Newman and Zealot are here. The Leroy looking for some sort of potential defense. Slappy's on the bottom side of the fight. Has the Victor ulti. This could do plenty of damage. The poke's coming through over the wall. Leroy does the burst over the wall. Nice smite from OG Roach. There's not even going to be the contest. That's just the Baron for free.
We see there that Second Wind simply does not care. Your damage is irrelevant to him.
Yeah, Aftershock Nautilus with a Knight's Vow. Fairly tanky, you know, pretty good at just sitting and taking damage.
Doesn't care. Doesn't matter. Yeah, the Cinder just doesn't do a whole lot there. It's like you were saying earlier, the Crown of the Shattered Queen, probably not the move. And for the most part, if you get all in by any of these individuals, Crown or not, you're pretty much just dead.
Yeah, like we were talking about in the drafting phase specifically, Syndra is all about like the early game burst that she can put out and the damage to one target she can go through. If she goes for 2 defensive items in a row into Void Staff third item, she's just not going to have the damage to be a threat in these team fights.
She just doesn't have that much AP.
Yeah, she's not sitting on a ton of AP, which means I think even to Zalt, she probably can't 100 to 0 a single target. Well, with the level 16, maybe with the Unleashed Power, she can actually cut through someone's HP, but it's not overkill like you would expect from Syndra just hitting QR on an AD carry and making them disappear.
Unfortunately, at this particular instance, Victor has built a Grievous Wounds item, so now if Victor and Silas are in the same fight, Silas just loses.
Yep. IDS rotating over to the top side, going to take that tower. Slappy's on the bottom side of the map. He has teleport, but there's nowhere for him to really teleport to. True Shot Barrage over the top, going to do a little bit of damage to Zalp, but thanks to the Knight's Vow, going to be taking a little bit less. Has the red buff in his pocket as well, which means he's going to be able to heal up just fine. A nice stun from the Leroy. There's no fight to follow up on as Watercat is on the bottom side of the map alongside Slappy. And without Slappy, it feels like Lamppost really just doesn't have the ability to take these fights.
So there was something else I was noticing earlier in that previous Drake fight. Adam Suki was having a huge issue picking a target and trying to kill them. He was kind of running in between Zalp and Watercat, which just let them kill him. He didn't get to do much.
Yeah, it feels like Lamppost especially is finding the difficulty actually picking out that individual target. Just picking one person and saying, hey, we're taking you out of the fight. Again, a nice stun from the Leroy, but there's no teamfight follow-up just yet. Slappy now has the unstoppable force, so maybe he can look for something. But again, it just feels like IDS is taking great advantage of this Baron buff and is just forcing down the lanes, pressing the issue. We're getting into the late game. Jinx is suddenly a massive problem.
They didn't manage to have an oppressive lead, and so they missed their window, I believe.
Yeah, they had that early window where they were up like 2,500 gold in the early game, and it felt like they were snowballing fairly well. But a couple of these fights just not going their way, a couple of objectives not going in their favor, means that IDS have now scaled into their late game and is suddenly a really threatening comp. Oh, Second Wind wants to flash in. Adam Suki, nice flag and drag over the wall. Second Wind not able to find any more engage off that, losing his flash just to get the flag and drag away from Adam Suki. Maybe this is the fight that Lamppost can look for. That's a big team fighting ultimate not available. Leroy putting plenty of poke over the wall. Rengar ulti has been popped. OG Roach is maybe looking for his target to blow up. Slappy's over the wall. He still has that Malphite ulti. He's hanging on to it. Second Wind wants to engage on him, though. Ojiro just hopping in. Huge damage onto Slappy. He's ignited as well. Plenty of damage coming through. There's the unstoppable force. The healing coming through. Slappy's going to survive with a sliver of HP, but Ojiro is going to pick him up finally. Zout flashes away from the Cataclysm. Adasuki trying to do damage to him, but there's nothing to be done. There's no team follow-up. Double kill for Ojiro, and that's going to be the Ocean Dragon going over to IDS.
There we saw Silas hit the Nautilus, and so was no longer allowed to heal as Nautilus has picked up his Bramble Vest.
Yeah, I do like the amount of anti-heal coming out from
Got 3 Grievous items.
Yeah, they have the Bramble Vest, they have the Thornmail out of the Malphite, and the full Morello picked up by Victor. No matter who's hitting Silas at this point, practically there's no healing coming through for him.
And they'll pretty much just push up the mid lane.
Oh, flashing from Watercat. Zelt's gonna get his Hex Drinker popped. Watercat looking for the damage onto the Leroy. Gonna Zhonya's away from the Unleashed Power. Just picks up the solo kill. IDS running a train in the base. Ojiro is gonna get all his health back. A nice hook from Second Wind is gonna pick up Zealot as well. Adamsuki's back in the fight now. There's Slappy with the Unstoppable Force. Picks up Zout though. That's a big kill to pick up. Adamsuki picks up Watercat. Ojiro is still alive though. Randy Newman has to flash away. Adamsuki, the last one particularly left alive to do damage. Gonna get picked up. Randy Newman has to watch his team walk away, but he gets hooked in by Second Wind. No walking away for you. It's an ace for IDS, and that's gonna be the game.
Just missed their window of opportunity, and Syndra just didn't itemize well. It's not like they built an absurd amount of magic resist. Like Victor built Merc Treads.
Yeah, the magic resist really was coming from the Mercury Treads. That was particularly it. Mercury Treads plus Locket, it was a lot of health and a lot of shields. But really, that was it. I do think it was, like we were talking about in the draft, the fact that IDS had the scaling advantage. They were able to just sit back and watch the time tick up and feel more and more comfortable in the game. Lamppost had a good early lead. They had the start that they wanted, but they just weren't able to close out quickly enough.
Syndra was probably only repping like 280 AP.
Yeah, if that. Anyway, we are going to be taking a short break before we get into Game 2, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. After an exciting game one, IDS found their scaling advantage and managed to make their way into the late game, taking the victory in game one. And we are into the draft for game two.
We have decided that we are not going to change our bans so far.
Yeah, so far everything's staying exactly the same. And to be fair, I don't think the bans were necessarily the problem for either
No, not at
side.
all.
I think the Orn ban on red side is really good if you are not planning on picking it in that first rotation. I
Especially for a team comp like IDS, which seems to go for the more late scalers. Orn would be horrible to play against with that composition.
Yeah, if you're attempting to win in the early game and snowball out of control, giving the opposing team Orn, not the best idea. So far, the band's staying the same, even if the order is a little different. Aatrox, Zaya, and Zillion off the table, and the Orn, the Karma, and the Seraphine taken off the table as well. And it feels like we are just running back the
We
draft
do
from game one
not.
because that's a Jinx first pick.
If we see Ezreal, that's not Ezreal.
Okay, I
Right.
like the Volibear here. The Ashe is an interesting choice, but I do like the Volibear, another early game jungler
The
for
most
Adam Silver.
annoying ADC.
Yeah, but
Not,
definitely not the one with the highest
not the
consistent
best,
damage
just the
output.
most annoying.
Definitely more of a utility AD carry, so we'll have to see if they're going to put another carry in the hands of Slappy up there in the top side.
Introducing one of two reasons that boots of swiftness are in the game, the other being singed.
Yeah, just the ability to slow so consistently being very difficult. Looks like
Renata going with Jinx.
IDS, liking the Renata from last game, are going to pick it up themselves, also taking it away from Randy Newman, not wanting to pair it up with that
Funnily
Ashe.
enough, that's going to change Renata's ult from primarily a damage one to a huge amount of utility with the Ashe on the enemy team.
Yeah, with the Ashe already picked up, Renata ulti means that you're guaranteed to get a slow on somebody alongside the Berserk, which feels pretty good. And I do like the ability to have that bailout on Jinx when you have an enemy team that is going to have divers.
Not
Speaking of divers,
Changes all in
IDS is
there.
going to grab the Nocturne.
We Lulu. No.
I think Lulu wouldn't be bad here. I think Renata does definitely struggle into enchanters who can do that shielding and healing job better than she can.
That's
Janna
true.
is the hover right now. And it is going to be locked in. That is an Ashe Janna in the bottom lane, unless we see something crazy like Janna top lane. But we haven't
Yes.
seen that for a bit, and
Riot
I
love
don't
that.
expect. I don't expect we'll be seeing it again.
Riot love that they rolled out a nerf exclusively for her, but branded it as a top lane rework.
Was just making sure that the support items can run top lane and do nothing with smite. I think it was a good change overall. The
It
Victor's
was.
going to be taken away from Watercat. The Silas is looking like it's going to be taken away from Slappy. I think these are good bans so far.
That was definitely their best performers. And Vigar going away. That was a
I
very
like
fast man.
I like the Vigar ban, another late game mid laner, something that Watercat would definitely like to have his hands on.
With the way
Conspicuously
IDS,
not touched in the first draft
with the
phase.
way
They did
IDS
pick up
likes
the
to play,
Victor
I'm just
early.
expecting to see Nasus pop out of the top lane.
I wouldn't be against it, but I don't think it would be the best overall.
It'd be the best overall, but in terms of late game scalers, you have Nasus and Vigar, and those are the best late game scalers. I guess Scion can be
I was
extremely
about to say, you're
annoying.
forgetting about one in particular, Scion, having that infinite health scaling makes him pretty good in the late
Corki,
game.
oh, I was about to say Corki's a huge mid laner. Corki'd be so good.
I don't
Ari's
mind the
good
Ori
too.
here either. She's very strong recently in
Ari's
pro player.
Ari's charm is it's awful. It's so annoying to play against.
It's definitely difficult to play against. IDS banning away the Syndra as well, taking away the AP solo laners that we saw in the last game for Lamppost. But with the Ari picked up, I wonder what Lamppost's top lane pick is going to be. IDS is going to have to counterpick the mid lane and then grab that top laner blind. I wonder if they'll just opt for the Malphite again.
Could do. Definitely use the tank. I am excited with that's
Lissandra is the lock-in to counterpick the mid lane. Definitely a safer mid laner than what we saw from Watercat last game.
yeah, a nice blend of a control and a burst mage.
Yeah, it still has the potential to do that full one-shot combo, but for Lissandra, it does really mean burning everything, including your defensive tools, to make that kill happen.
I am once again we are going for Yeah, that's just Malphite again. It's a great blind pick.
It's a blind pick Malphite. Orin's gone. Pick up the Malphite. I would not have minded Scion here, but I do think the Malphite is also very good. As you know, there isn't going to be a Silas on the enemy
Yep.
team to be picked up. There's the Tom Kench hover for Slappy. I wonder if they'll lock it in. It's like you were talking about, really good into these tank top laners. But I would say in the late game doesn't scale as hard as other tanks do, and that is going to be locked in.
Tom, if you can play Tom well, Tom is close, almost as unkillable as Nautilus. Jinx is going to have to build some pretty hefty items to manage to do much against Tom.
I'm just really hoping that we see the Lord Dominic's Regards second item. Should be good against the Volley Bear and the Tom Kench. Should be plenty for her to get through them.
We are, however, going for another early v late game composition. Lysandra definitely much more of a middle, but Jinx
She
and
has the
Nocturne,
utility for that late game that makes her
she does.
really valuable. I
She gets
do think, like
she
you're
gets
talking
to
about
shift
again,
forward a little bit.
yeah, like you were talking about again,
But
a
Nocturne
really
and
good base
Jinx are
late
just
game.
heavy late games. Especially Nocturne is going to love this Ashe, Jaina, and Ari if he can get on Ari without just popping.
Yeah, the Spell Shield versus the Ari Charm and the Ash Arrow specifically is a lot of high value Spell Shield targets, as well as just Nocturne's ability to sit on immobile carries and make them not play the game.
But
I do
another
think
thing that
Janna
makes me say that
is.
Lamp is such an early game composition is the Volibear and the Tom. Tom is undeniably the best level 1 champion in the top lane.
Oh, yeah.
And Volibear's best power, unless he gets extremely fed, of course, is about that level 6 to about 10.
Yeah, just using his ultimate to get these ganks off, potentially get dives off as well for free. Just being able to move around the map, similar to what we saw from the Jarvan in the first game. Just trying to be active in the early game, making things happen. Uh, I do want to say that Malphite's probably not going to be playing the game for the first, give or take, 11 levels.
Oh no.
If we
Tom
see
doesn't.
IDS put any threat into the top side, I would be really surprised. I really want to see them focus on this middle and bottom lane. And like what we saw in the first game, taking that early first dragon, making sure their bottom lane has that safe scaling, giving their mid laner time to breathe in this laning phase.
Volibear is going to have to, or no, but Malphite's going to have to build significant AP to do any sort of threat to Tom. Otherwise,
Well,
Tom.
that's even if he wants to do threat
Right,
to
or he
him.
just doesn't care and just relies on being a huge tank for Ashe and Jaina and Ari.
I wouldn't even mind, honestly, if Gen Top went for something like press the attack. Just trying to like give that vulnerability to these frontliners of the Volibear and the Tom Kench, because with his ultimate, you can generally get 3 auto attacks off
Yeah.
from the Malphite, which can get you a free press the attack proc. It's not something that will be like super useful in the laning phase, like Grasp will or like Comet will. But in all honesty, you're never poking Tom out of lane anyway. So
That's true.
I'd hope at the very least we don't see the Comet. At minimum, we see the Grasp.
So I don't see a whole lot of need for Grievous, at least. They might go for a Serpent's Fang,
I
but
think there's potential for anti-heal just because Ari Janna. Tom
yeah.
Kench, the healing cut doesn't do a huge amount into him because he can just press the shield button and have
Well, Tom Kinch
effectively the
doesn't
same
care.
health bar.
Well, no, Tom Kinch doesn't care. Tom Kinch's shield applies after Grievous wounds elapses.
Yeah, the healing comes back. It's similar to Pike passive where it doesn't change the amount of healing that they get; it just slows it down.
Not even really that. It actually literally doesn't affect it at all.
Yeah, it doesn't affect the shield, which would mean that they would need something like the Serpent's Fang you were talking about
It doesn't
to
affect his
actually.
health either.
Which, if he's just going to wait for his health to heal up, doesn't affect the gray health. The gray health is
Yeah.
in a really comfortable spot, just
Yeah.
sitting waiting to be that Schrodinger's health bar.
Tom's Grave Sustain is completely unaffected by Grievous. And there is no Grievous item in the game that, I guess, unless he stands on Varus arrows, that lasts long enough to affect his actual healing from the thing either.
Yeah, because it's always out of combat. So if it's something like the Andrew's burn, he's not going to be able to
Right.
get the healing off. But I do think there is potential for anti-heal just because Janna with a Moonstone and Ari with her new ability to be not exactly a drain tank, but have a lot of healing in these team fights with her new passive. There's definitely potential for anti-heal. I don't think it's the highest value, but it's there. It exists.
However, on Lamppost side, anti-heal can be quite useful.
Yeah, into Nocturne, into Jinx, into Lysandra. there's potential for good anti-heal targets here, but I don't think Grievous Wounds is going to be the highest priority unless we see something like the Ocean Soul. But like you were talking about, again, we have the early game and mid game versus the late game, the mid and late game drafts here.
I am really
I'm
excited to watch this Ari go crown into.
I'm I'm
Tell you,
praying. I'm praying that we don't see Crown on this Ari, especially with the delayed damage that comes through from Lissandra, from Nocturne, from Jinx. I'm really hoping that we see something like even Everfrost or Ludens and just looking to burst out the Renata or the Jinx before the fight can even start. Because that's what Ari can really succeed and thrive on in these team fights, just being that mage assassin, getting these picks similar to something like LeBlanc.
well, her ult getting cooldown reset upon a takedown is ridiculous.
Yeah, she can potentially have upwards of 8 dashes in a fight, though the 8th one doesn't really matter because that would be the 5th takedown you get. But it is you can get a lot of dashes in a fight, which can make her
It's so
extremely difficult
ridiculous.
to knock down, especially given that those takedowns also give her a chunk of HP.
I think that Nocturne is going to have the greatest effect on this game. I think his global ult is just such a potent tool, especially against a bunch of squishies.
Yeah, if the Ari and the Ashe can't be safe enough in the team fights, Nocturne is gonna have a field day and just gonna be able to sit on top of the Janna or the Ashe and just say, "Hey, you guys aren't gonna get to affect this team fight. Sorry, not sorry." But while we wait for the last minute of the spectator delay to come down, do you think IDS can survive the early game oppression again, like they did in game one, or do you think Lamppost has maybe figured out how to close out the game a bit cleaner?
So I like the pick of Tom because Tom is a huge tank that you can't mitigate the tankiness of in comparison to Silas, who you can easily mitigate if you focus on it. Tom Kench is just hard to kill, straight up, no matter what you do. If we see Adam Suki play like he did with the Jarvan, we're going to see a lot of Adam Suki ulting in alone and then just dying ineffectually, and that'll be very disappointing. But if if Adam Suki can play safer, I think that Lamppost is going to be able to have a good game, even if it's not much of a win. It won't be as hard of a just negative slope.
Honestly, when I started to see Nocturne come into the meta more for these junglers, I'm a little surprised that we're not seeing Adam Suki on it. Because last season, when he was playing on the Mingos, one of his favorite champions in particular was this Nocturne. He was able to play it with such efficiency and play out team fights so well. And immediately as we load into the game, we do get the pause. As we're looking over the runes, I am immediately disappointed in Gem Top. How could you do this to me? I'm hurt and betrayed.
AP Malphite. Maybe I was right.
With the second wind that I'm assuming Slappy has and the Doran shield, the Comet Poke is just going to be meaningless. It doesn't do anything for you, buddy.
That's Tom Kench. He doesn't care about poke anyway.
Exactly.
If your battle plan is poke and you're up against Tom Kench, you lose. That's it. You
Yeah,
just
the
lose.
gray health is fairly good, though it has been nerfed in the solo lane specifically, similar to the
That's true.
Pike passive changes. So he doesn't get as much gray health when he's only seeing one person. So maybe the poke can come through for
He
Gem
does,
Top.
however, get more if there are two people.
Yes, it was a buff if there are multiple people, but a nerf if there's a single person, which I think is good for support Kench, very bad for solo lane.
Ironically, if you look at support Kench was buffed across the board, and top Kench, if he is ganked, was once again buffed across the board.
If he was ganked, yes, but I doubt we'll be seeing a lot of pressure coming from OG Roach up onto that top side. I'm hoping at least that we see a lot of pressure in the mid and the bot lane, playing around Watercat's cooldowns, playing to make sure that Zalp and Second Wind have that laning phase and can stay safe.
I am interested in Second Wind's glacial choice. I don't. It's okay, but I don't think it's the best for Renata. I think Renata benefits from tank runes a bit more.
There's generally two schools of thought with Renata. There is like what we saw last game, the Guardian plus the tank items with that Locket of the Iron Solari. If you're doing Glacial, you're generally going to be looking more for like cooldown reduction with the like Shirelia's Reverie and trying to play more like an enchanter than a frontliner, which can also work. And I think with a pick like Jinx might be a little bit more effective.
You do need a lot of AP because giving Jinx a significant attack speed buff before she gets her perks up is large, and even after, because I think at max stack she gets no cap.
Yeah, like with the I think the build in general is usually the Shurelia's into Ardent Sensor, especially if you have an auto attacking AD carry, and that should be a lot of attack speed for
That's a
sure.
lot of buffing for Jinx.
Yeah, the extra magic damage on hit, the extra attack speed. If you can also include the Shurelia's movement speed, it's a lot coming through for Jinx, which I think is why second opted for what we're expecting to be a particular style of build, and I think it might work out for him. We'll have to see how he pilots it, obviously.
I'm
But
very amused with the cleanse choice for Zealot.
yeah, cleansing away from the fear, from the berserk, from the Lissandra ulti. I think there are plenty of cleanse targets, and I don't
There's a
think
lot of
he
good
was.
targets for cleanse. It's just funny because pretty much no one ever picks up cleanse.
Yeah, it's something you see in professional play a lot more often because AD carries have the potential to actually, get peel inside of fights, have teams who are looking to protect them a bit more and not playing with the solo queue mentality.
We
And
have
Randy Newman has picked up the heal as
biscuits,
well for the lane, so that while they don't have an exhaust or an ignite, they are going to be a very safe lane.
biscuits for the Malphite. Lots of poke, unfortunately.
Yeah, it feels like he just took the same rune page as he did in game one, and he is already down so much CS. You're Gem Top, you're not going to be playing this lane out, buddy. It's just not how this one is going to work.
Tom simply does not care.
Nice pull in from second wind. Good little bit of damage into Randy Newman, but he's got the shield for himself, so he's going to
I
be
like
fine.
seeing the multiple glacials go up.
Yeah, we're already seeing the poke come through into Slappy and just how
It
ineffectual
just
the
doesn't do
combo is,
anything.
how little it's really doing in this. We'll have to see if maybe Gem Top can start to even out that CS lead, and we can start to attribute that to his ability to output poke. But I think, like, Slappy hasn't even popped a potion yet. He hasn't popped a single potion. He's doing absolutely fine.
You need to. Look, Malphite's used what? 2 or 3 Qs?
Oh, Randy Newman, a nice knock up on the
Wow.
Zalp. Plenty of damage. Randy Newman is going to burn the heal. Zalp is going to trade it in kind. Now Randy Newman, the one taking the damage. Second wind might look for the heal. Nice slows. There's the Ignite coming down the flash away, but I think it's going to tick him down. First blood, second wind.
Go Renata. Second Wind is such a ridiculous ability.
Yeah, second wind playing the lane out fairly well. He went up for the roam, but got back down in time. Randy Newman, I think, just a little bit greedy. It felt like the heal there early was being used to playing with exhaust or with ignite and not having the same muscle memory of being like, oh, I have heal, I have the defensive rune, I don't have to press it aggressively like I would ignite.
Slappy actually experiencing a little bit of health loss down almost like
He's
20.
almost at a quarter H, or he's almost at 3/4 HP. Whatever will he do?
Malphite is out of mana though.
Yeah, he is sitting on a biscuit, so he does have a bit more mana just waiting to come through, along with the third biscuit that will come through. But again, he's not going to be doing a ton of poke until he has that tier in inventory, until he's feeling a little bit tankier. We saw him do this in game one against the Silas, who very similarly doesn't particularly care about the poke, just presses that Kingslayer button and gets his health back. Slappy doesn't even have to push a button this time to get his health back.
It just happens anyway. The overall game plan for Lamppost is going to involve Ari for the most part. Tom doesn't do significant damage after pretty much the 10-15 minute mark. He kind of just sits there and gets punched in the face.
Yeah, he becomes less of a he becomes less of a damage threat and more of a meat shield. I do want to say it's a little concerning that Adamsuki hasn't been able to find any ganks in this early game, especially when you're playing the Volley Bear. That's really what you're looking for. Similar to the Jarvan, you want the early pressure. You want to be putting ganks down. But he's just been power farming his jungle, and if it goes to power farm between Nocturne and Volley Bear, I've got to prefer the Nocturne.
Well, he doesn't have much of a choice. He can, I say that. He can gank basically mid and bot, and that's all his options. Because he can't gank top, because top's just going to be pushed to tower in perpetuity.
Unless Slappy is going to try and set up a freeze here, but I think he's got too many ranged minions. He wants the all-in with the Abyssal Voyage. Gets the 3 stacks of the passive. He has his ulti available to him. He's not going to burn it. Ojiro has walked in. Adamsuki is here for the counter gank. He is spotted on the ward. Doesn't get the stun through onto Ojiro. A nice spell shield. Good fear. Zalp has to flash away, though. Second wind tanking up the Ranger's focus from Zealot. Gonna be taking a lot of damage. A nice pull in. The Glacial Augment doing plenty of work. Big slow. Zealot has no mana. OG Roach wants to flash forward. The cleanse comes through. OG Roach finally picks up the kill, but Abisuki got zapped out first. Gets the shield for himself. He wants to turn the fight around. The Ignite is down onto Adamsuki, but he gets picked up. A double kill for OG Roach. Surviving got a sliver of HP, and that is going to be the bottom side fight going in favor of IDS.
Renata's preemptive W probably, well, it definitely would have saved Jinx's life had Zelt not just ran back in, but running back in probably gave Nocturne another kill. So who really cares?
Yeah, it's difficult situation in those tough fights where you're playing someone like Renata or Zillion where you have that revival ability and you're like, oh, hey, go take damage, go die, so you can get that revive off, so you can get back in the fight. But the instinct for a League player is, oh, hey, I'm low health, I need to exit the fight. I need to not be here so I don't die and give over a kill.
That's why Scion is the best ADC.
Because he can just walk
Because he
forward.
kills himself.
No, that's why Kog'Maw is.
No, please.
Kog'Maw players are used to walking forward.
No, please.
Kog'Maw's passive is the most useful passive in the game. Haven't you
Oh my
heard?
god. I love
It's
that it
so
only scales with
good.
levels. That's it. That's all you get.
Zal was going to be able to, I think, not going to be able to take the plate this time around, but we're seeing the Jinx keep up in CS, only being 10 CS down in a lane that is what I would say is oppressive, like Ashe Janna with plenty of poke. It's a good spot for this Jinx to be in.
If you're Jinx, you don't even really look for kills. If Nocturne comes down, you'll start looking for some, but you kind of just poke people and then grab your CS. You don't really care, because right now is not where you shine, and you know that.
Yeah, you're happy to just sit in lane and press the rockets on the back line, push the wave in, sit back under tower, wait for the wave to come back to you, and just play with the wave a little bit. Just let it come to you, sit back, relax, and farm up. And again, I think the minimal impact that Adamsuki has had on this Volibear is going to spell trouble for Lamppost in this early game. We were talking about in draft, this is a early game and mid game versus a late game team comp. If Adamsuki can't have more impact, if he can't do more with this Volibear, especially now that he has the Stormbringer,
he's got the ultimate.
Pocket, especially now that he has the ultimate, they need to find something for him to do. But I think also the ward coverage from IDS has been really nice. Look at these topside wards covering both of the entrances. Adam has managed to sneak his way into the Rift Herald pit, so he'll probably be able to pick that one up for himself. But there's no ability for him to walk into a lane without being spotted. Oh, speaking of walking to a lane, OG Roach is going to pop the Paranoia, get immediately onto Zealot. He's just picked up and deleted Super Mega Death Rocket is going to grab that one. Perfectly executed gank from OG Roach. Well played.
We love Paranoia. It's such a cool ability with so much interaction.
You are in vision and Nocturne is within several thousand units of you? Oh well, I guess you're dead.
The enemy can see you, and Nocturne exists at all.
Nice knockup from Slabby, but I don't think there's exactly a kill opportunity here. Zalp is going to grab the tower plating solo for himself. Nice job, second win. Not staying in lane and stealing that plating.
Infernal successfully grabbed by Nocturne.
And Ocean Dragon is our second dragon of the game.
Ocean Soul.
Slappy wants the kill. He gets the consume off. Plenty of damage. Gemtop is going to use the Unstoppable Force as a knockout rather than an escape. But Adamsuki is here. There's the Stormbringer pop.
Hit the button.
Grabs the first kill.
Look at him go. He hit his button. It's the only button that does that. Look at him go.
Yeah, but I think the problem is that button is happening topside. Meanwhile, bottom side, a nice Berserk onto 2 is going to mean that the Monsoon is immediately canceled out. Zealot trying to do damage. Zalp is auto-attacking, but he's taking the tower. He's going to go down? No, he burns the heal and stays alive with a sliver of HP. And now the Rift Herald topside means Slappy and Adamsuki are going to grab the first tower. But I still think the value and the gameplay is in the favor of IDS so far.
That was a fantastic Renata ult.
Yeah, beautifully executed. It stops the Monsoon before it can happen. Even Zealot gets a little bit of extra damage in, but it's not the damage that you're really worried about. It's just denying your enemies from running away and stopping channeled abilities. That's really the power of the Renata ulti.
For the next 1.5 seconds, you only do what I want you to do, which is really bad for you.
You're going to stand here and you're going to auto-attack your teammate, and that's all you can
punch your friends in the face.
You don't get to hit any of your other buttons. You don't get to flash away. You don't get to heal yourself. You don't get to do anything. OG Roach has made his way into mid lane, but Leroy does have ulti. A nice charm onto onto Gem Top. He might have been able to look for the kill, actually, but Adamsuki now is here. There's the Paranoia pop. OG Roach looking for the damage. Nice flash over the wall from the Leroy. Flash forward from Adamsuki. Grabs himself the shutdown gold. And suddenly, with the Volibear being 3-1, this is a much more dangerous position for IDS.
I don't know if the flash was strictly necessary, but it was for
an
fun.
extra. It was an extra 300 gold in the shutdown, so I think it's valuable enough, especially because he's got his CDR boots. He'll be fine. That flash will be up soon enough.
It was for funsies.
He's just in a bit of a silly, goofy mood. Second Wind is doing plenty of damage on the Zealot, actually. Sort of winning the trade right now, but now the lethal tempo stacked. Second Wind, I don't know if this is the trade you want to take. Super Mega Death Rocket is not going to connect. There's the stopwatch with a flash over the wall from Zealot to make sure no kill goes over. Zealot's going to grab that kill. Watercat trying to do the burst damage now. Zealot flashes forward looking for the damage, but the heal comes through from the no kill coming through. It's a double kill for Zealot, and that's a winning play for Lamp.
Huge. I like the Renata killing himself. I think that was a great play.
Yeah, that felt really over-aggressive from Second Wind. It felt like a call from Watercat saying, like, hey, I'm on my way down. Keep Ash there. Keep her there. But it was just a little too early.
I don't really know why you just enter a right-click battle with Ash.
Adamsuki trying to steal away the Raptors. Second Wind is here, though. Doesn't manage to get the handshake. OG Roach has the bailout on him. There's the Stormbringer. Here's the Berserk as well. No Monsoon to come through. OG Roach is going to survive with a sliver of HP. Slappy's here in the fight. Auto attacks down onto Watercat, trying to get that acquired taste stacked up. Adamsuki is living barely with any HP. Zal now has entered the fight as well. Slappy trying to walk away. Finally has the acquired taste stacked up, but I don't think he's going to look for anything more. He is just playing Kench and happy to walk around.
The fattest fish does not care for your damage.
Yeah, the fact that he took the focus for like half of that fight and ends up full HP at the end of it, that's pretty good. That's pretty cool.
Well, what else are you supposed to do? He's got his grasp of the Undying. That's all the health. That's all the healing in combat he needs. And then he's got baby Warmogs.
Zealot has finally completed that mythic item. He's now sitting on that immortal shield, though. I don't know how much help it's going to be. There's the Ash Arrow. Leroy is here as well. The bailout is down, but I think Zalp is just going to get 100-0 before it can even happen. Tries to get the trade onto Randy Newman. Almost picks him out. That's flash away from the fourth dash that Ari was able to grab off of that.
That was a lot of damage. Oh, they're pinging the Nocturne. Maybe three of the... Nocturnes, rather, pinging the Tom. Maybe three of them would have been enough.
Potentially, but now that the turret plates are fallen, Lamppost not going to be able to get much more out of the tower push. They're just going to get the recalls off. Dragon is spawning in 15 seconds, so Zalpa's going to be up for it. Maybe they made that play just a little too early. With this second Dragon spawning, we've got a 1 out of 3. What do you think the Soul's going to be this time around?
Oh, well, let's see. In an absolutely massive upset, it was Ocean. So this time it's going to be Cloud.
I think it's going to be Hextech Soul because we love Hex Gates here. We are
really?
built over
If
fanatics.
If you're my unironic guess, I'm reckoning Mountain.
Well, the Dragon's going to be started up by Lamppost, but immediately IDS just walks into the pit and just says, hey, this is ours now, thank you very much. Leroy and Slappy are finally rotating down, but the Dragon's going to be gone before they can even get there. Adamsuki doesn't have a chance to get into the pit. OG Roach didn't even have a smite when they made that play, just confidence. Oh, Watercat wants in, gets the ulti down onto himself. There's the nice Renata ulti over the top, getting the Berserk. Gemtop gets a nice two-man knockup. Randy Newman gets picked up. Adamsuki's gonna get OG Roach, but it's just all Lamppost for the rest of this fight. Slappy gets the Grey Health Shield. He's led to take out the Catfish, but he gets rooted up. No Abyssal Voyage for you. It's a double kill for Watercat. They get the Dragon as well. Leroy has to limp away as his teammates lose the fight.
It's Cloud Soul.
It is Cloud Soul, which, again, I think for IDS is not the worst. I think...
I'm a huge fan of the Lysandra ult, and I think Cloud Soul's really going to help with that.
Lysandra ulti, if you use it on yourself, I think the movement speed is going to come after you're out of it, because it's a channeled ability, technically. But for now...
I'm pretty sure Cloud Soul occurs immediately upon casting.
It's usually immediately upon casting, but with channeled abilities, it works slightly differently. It happens after the channel. So it's just a matter of how does that interact with Lysandra's self-ulti as opposed to her enemy cast ulti.
Who knows? A mystery.
We'll have to see if we can't watch and see.
It would be really funny on Tom.
Gets the eat off and just starts sprinting away.
Fast fish.
I mean, if he eats an ally, he already gets a burst of movement speed, so
True.
Just getting that little bit extra. But I would be very surprised if IDS can actually make it
Yeah.
to that point. I also want to point out that Second Wind has opted for the more aggressive itemization, opting for the Imperial Mandate, looking to just get the extra damage in as much as he can, which I think is not a bad choice, but I would have really liked to see the Shirelias in this.
Right-click Renata?
OG Roach, they're fighting over the Rift Herald. Who's going to be able to smite it down? Adasuki gets the steal. Stormbringer's in just to be able to pick up the eye. He's going to get bursted down. Nice Ash Arrow picks up Zalp. He's stunned for 1,000 years. OG Roach is trying to finally do the damage. Zalp gets picked up by the Leroy. Nice Berserk over the top, and there's no teammates left to take advantage of it. Zealot gets the auto attack down with the Second Wind, which means he's going to get picked up. Leroy wants to play more aggressive, trying to get more into the fight. Nice slow from OG Roach. Second Wind finally goes down thanks to that bailout, and that is... yeah, a team fight win in favor of Lamppost. This game is very back and forth.
I am greatly appreciative of the fact that they were mostly targeting Tom Kinch for that fight.
And now he's full HP again, zoning two people away. Jeb top trying to do damage, but again, it's Tom Kinch. He's just going to wait for that gray health to come back.
He does not care. My favorite is when Tom builds a Spirit Visage and actually gains more health than he loses.
Yeah, just that little bit of extra healing. I hope he actually took Revitalize in his runes, because that would also increase the amount of healing he gets, which could be really funny.
Usually, though, Tom's go Second Wind.
Second Wind is in a different tree, especially because he has grass.
No, what is it?
It's either Unflinching Overgrowth or Revitalize. It's probably Unflinching, just because there's a good amount of crowd control on the enemy team. But I can hope.
Overgrowth is funny.
Overgrowth is a lot of HP, too. I do want to point out, Leroy figured out what was wrong last game. He's building damage this time around.
Oh, how disappointing.
He solved the equation.
We didn't see the legendary Shattered into Zonias. I don't know if I like the Immortal Shield, though, but I also don't know what they would have done otherwise.
I think both of the other 80 carry mythics are not terrible on Ashe. I think Immortal Shield, though, is the lowest damage option of the three. It's the one that provides the most safety, but it did also just get nerfed in this most recent Lifesteal patch, so it's a lot less effective than it used to be.
Right, and then Yon and Yasuo were, of course, buffed to accommodate.
Buffed in compensation, because they really needed it, yeah.
Right.
But with the Ashe going for the Ginsus, I'm assuming we're just going to be seeing the on-hit build, which means it's probably going to be something like Blade of the Ruined King and Wit's End. It's fine. It's good enough, but...
It's a build, I guess.
It's a build that does a good amount of damage, but it's definitely not like the consistent damage I think that Ashe was really hoping for.
Tom is just going to run at the tower, and that's it. That's his game plan. He doesn't need to think even harder than that. He has enough HP that it doesn't matter.
I do want to say Zalp has opted for the Phantom Dancer again, second item. I would have loved to see the Lord Dominic's Regard as opposed to the Phantom Dancer, but the Phantom Dancer will still give him safety-ish, so it's still okay. Now, IDS doesn't have to contest the next 3 dragons. They don't have to care about them. They can just sit back for the next 15 minutes and farm up.
The Cloud, huge, fantastic. IDS actually probably should have gained the Cloud, maybe not like made it a huge priority, but the Cloud to make a
Adamsuki wants in. Water Cat is going to be crowd controlled up before he can get the ulti off on himself. Berserk is over the top, but there's not a lot of effectiveness coming out of it. Gem Top itself is waiting into the fight. There's the Stormbreaker coming out from Adamsuki. It's a double kill over for the Leroy. He's getting the resets on that ultimate. Nice slow on his Zalp. He's going to get picked up. A triple kill for the Ari. OG Roach forced to limp away and lick his wounds. He's on a ward, though. Maybe Zealot wants to find him. Looking to try and get the 1v1. A good cleanse means the fear is not going to come through. Zealot's going to kill the jungler, and that's going to be the Baron for a Lamppost.
It's a interesting Herald.
I think it was literally just because it was running out of time. That again, second Herald, not the most effective. But the Leroy stepping up huge in this game, able to pump out the damage on this Ari, as opposed to what we saw last game. Confirmed the Baron for his team, all 5 members. 5-0-6, 10 stacks on that Darksteel. He is feeling himself this game.
Perhaps it was a smart decision to not build exclusively defensive items.
Yeah, it turns out building damage really helps you deal damage. Important to note that Watercat was just deleted in that fight before he could get his ulti off onto himself, or even before he could get his stopwatch off. He was not able to like apply anything in that fight. It looks like a bit of an aggressive reach.
I am a huge fan of IDS's game plan of let's all punch Tom Kench. I think that's a great tactical move. As we see Tom just running at Lissandra.
Watercat is on his own in the side lane with no wards. I don't know what he expected, but he is going to be picked up. Slappy doing a little laughing before he licks that kill up for himself.
He does not... Even with the anti-tank Leandries, Slappy does not care. Doesn't matter.
Slappy doesn't even have magic resist. There's
Nope.
the arrow from Zealot. Plenty of damage coming through onto Zalp. He just gets picked up. Leroy steals that kill from his AD carry. Says, you're the utility here. I'm the damage. Double kill for the Ahri. And I think this might just start to spell disaster for IDS. I was talking about how much time they had to scale, but I think they're starting to run out.
Well, Slappy actually does have a bit of magic resist. He's got the 30 from
the 25 that comes from Frostfire Gauntlet, yeah.
And his little null mantle.
He's null magic mantle.
He's got what, like 40 or more?
He's building majority armor, and the Malphite and the Lissandra are not dealing damage to him. This feels very reminiscent to what we saw in Game 1 from Gemtop. He was able to build a bit of magic resist, and then the two AP solo laners didn't get to do damage to him.
He doesn't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Slappy in this case just builds full armor and watches the jungler and the AD carry do no damage to him.
And also the burst mage.
Oh, OG Roach, you are in the wrong neighborhood, deleted, but there's the bailout. Maybe they can find something for him. Adamsuki goes super low. It's a 1-for-1 at the start. Watercat gonna pop the zombies for himself. He's gonna stay alive for a little bit longer. Slappy, full frontline tanking, a nice two-man knock-up from Gemtop, and there's the Monsoon to get the team back to full HP. Zealot picks up second win. Zalp trying to output the damage, but he has no mana left. Zealot just keeps the auto attacks in. Leroy flashes forward, makes sure that one comes through. A nice char to come through. That's the ace for Lamppost, and I think that's gonna be the game.
That was so sad. Jinx was auto-attacking Tom that entire fight.
Yeah, just imagine if it was Lord Dominus Regard second instead of this Phantom Dancer. Maybe Slappy takes more damage and is forced to like play more defensively. But with the Phantom Dancer, you do plenty of damage to squishies, but none to this Kench. With the Baron buff running out, it looks like Lamppost are not going to opt to end the game here, which is a bit of a miracle for IDS and is going to give them another chance in this game.
Oh my god, that was funny.
Yeah, Slappy really just gets to sit in front of team fights and says, haha, I am Kench. You do no damage. Haha.
The Jinx, I don't think, even got takedowns on the others and was pretty much just focusing Tom, so she didn't even get excited.
Yeah, I think also important to note, Randy Newman with the clutch Monsoon didn't burn it too early, so it got stopped by the Renata ulti. And once that comes through, there's and the Malphite ulti comes through, there's really nothing to interrupt the Janna from just taking her team back to full HP with this Moonstone. Absolutely disgusting amount of healing coming out from him in that fight. Really nicely played.
Is he actually going to go Spirit Visage?
Yes, he is. That is a good item in this game. Not only because you're Tom Kench and you have shield and healing, but also
it's just really funny.
solo laners.
It's good. It's also just funny. He's just not gonna take. He's going to be at full health ad infinitum unless he pops his shields.
Yeah, pretty much. With the second Cloud Dragon going down again, IDS doesn't have to really worry about the dragons because even the Cloud Soul, I would say, isn't the highest effectiveness for anybody on this team aside from
Tom.
Maybe the Ashe and the Tom, but that's really it.
The Ahri benefits from it greatly.
Yeah, it is the Tom and the Ahri. Did I say Tom and Ashe? I meant Tom and Ahri. Tom and Ahri are gonna get the most effectiveness out of it, which is it's good for them. But again, it's Cloud Soul. It's not like the highest impact game-winning soul. IDS was allowed to sit back and scale, but we saw them engage fights. We saw them try to take fights that were disadvantageous to them. Now they're down 2 inhibitors, and IDS have having to put up a bit of a base defense, trying to
Tom
keep this
just
tower
going
alive.
wherever he wants to.
Yeah, Tom can just eat beside their base, does not care.
Standing in the fountain.
And now with
Winions.
the minions forcing down the Nexus tower,
Well,
IDS is going to have to back off to try and clear that. The tower does finally go down just from the minions alone. Nobody cleared that in time. With this next wave coming through, I think that's going to mean this inhibitor tower is going to go down as well. Zealot finally gets auto attack in. Yeah.
Beat up the
Leroy
minion.
wants in though, a nice knock up onto one from Gem Top, but there's no fight to be had. Nice, again, a great berserk, canceling everybody out, but there's no damage coming through. Ojer, which can't kill anyone. Leroy might finally go down, but he gets the healing from the passive, and he is out of there. Zalp trying to do damage to Adasuke, but there's nothing to be done there. He does finally pick up the kill, survives with a sliver of HP, but the rest of his team has already died. It's a double kill for Zealot, the teleport in for the Leroy, and that is just going to be the game. We have got ourselves a series here, folks.
No, don't do it.
Oh. Pulled out of the base, taken down. The Nexus will fall next in 27 minutes, nearly exactly. That is the game for Lamppost.
Tom Kinch is such a fat fish.
Yeah, we saw why it was banned in game 1. I also want to point out the Leroy, not a single death that game. 10.
Oh, it was really close
13.
in that last engage, but managed to pull it off.
Yeah, again, just that little bit of passing, a little bit of healing coming out from her passive, making it so she's so difficult to kill alongside the extra dashes she get. Super well played, I think, from everybody on Lamppost. They managed to beat out the clock. They got that 27-minute victory, didn't let IDS scale. Now, we are going to be going to a short break before Game 3 because we've got ourselves a series. We're hoping for 5 games. We'll see you back at the end of this break. Welcome back, everybody. After a barnstormer of a game two, Lamp have evened up the series 1-1. We are into our draft phase for game three, and so far, everything's looking pretty similar.
If I don't see a Tom ban, I'm gonna riot.
There's the Aatrox ban again. I wonder if Lamppost has the confidence to pick up the Tom in the first rotation if the bans stay the same, or if IDS is going to not go with the Zaya or the Zillion ban that they've been sticking with.
Zaya is, or rather Zillion is such a good ban. Zillion's such a good support, being able to do what Renata does, but without the penalty.
They're keeping the Zillion on the ban list. We'll have to see if the Zaya meets it as well. Lamppost going to keep the same bans as we saw in game 1 and 2. Wouldn't be shocked if they just kept the same for game 3.
It worked the second time.
Again, the Ornn ban, good if you're planning on playing these early game focused comps, trying to end the game before it can snowball out of control. IDS is taking their time for their last ban. They're thinking about it.
They're like, should we ban Tom?
And they're going to opt no. They're going to keep the same bans this time around. IDS.
Lamppost not even thinking about who they're banning, just picking the same ones.
Yeah, they've got their draft strategy figured out. Their bans don't particularly change across it, and I think that's absolutely fine. They're good 3 focused bans away from Gem Top, Watercat, and Second Wind. With IDS picking blue side again, I have to assume that the Jinx is going to go into the hands of Zalp one more time.
Oh boy. I bet we see Kraken Slayer followed by Phantom Dancer.
Well, it looks like this draft is
We're just going to play the game again. Okay.
It looks like it's going to be a pretty close run back of game 1 of game 2 at the very least, with the Ashe and the Volibear being picked up in the second rotation. Now, what if IDS just grabbed the Tahm Kench for support here to deny the top lane pick?
Renata time.
We'll see if IDS wants to grab the Renata again.
It's just the same match.
We might have a potential salty run back on our hands from IDS.
That would be funny.
We'll have to see. Counting down the timer. Looks like they're going to change up supports. Potentially the Thresh is locked in. Thresh is not a champion we've been seeing a ton of recently. Champs like Leona and Nautilus have definitely stepped into his spotlight. But with the peel he can provide... With the peel he can provide, potentially offers that safety to Jinx that these other supports don't really give.
Definitely would have been funny if the Thresh was instead a Senna and they just went to ADCs in the bot lane.
Which could definitely be hard punished by something like Volibear. I doubt they would go for it, but as we're waiting for the timer to tick down, Rengar is back into the hands of OG Roach. And with the Morgana not being banned, that is the general hard counter pick into Thresh, and that is going to be the lock-in. Ashe Morgana, a very safe lane. I
hope we don't see support items, and instead we have a carry Morgana who just builds the carry items even anyway. Leandries and Demonic Embrace? Yes, please.
I would really like to see IDS take away the Tahm Kench this time around. They're hovering it, and they're going to ban it away. Will not be seen this time around. Lamppost is going to run all the way back into game 2, take away the Victor and the Vigar. And IDS, I wouldn't mind seeing an Ahri ban here, honestly, but the Sylas is not a bad ban either. They are hard focusing. Slappy.
Over the course of the game, Slappy will not be able to pick a top laner.
There are already 3 or 4 bans, depending on how you see the Ornn ban, focused his direction. With the Ahri being picked up again, it really is only the support difference from Lamp here. IDS we're going to see Corki versus Ahri. We've seen the Corki hover a couple times, but it hasn't been locked in, so I would be surprised if it actually gets clicked on.
Lamppost has been hovering Corki.
Yeah, we've seen the Corki hovers, but it hasn't been locked in, but this time it will go through. Watercat's going to be on the Corki this time around.
I feel like Corki and Ahri is a really common matchup.
Corki with first strike, press E, get money, walk away. A little bit more difficult to do into Ahri because she has the potential to trade back into you in that very linear style that you like.
I am curious what these top lanes are going to be. That's not Malphite! Woo! We're changing!
That's not Malphite. That is Dr. Mundo, which is a slightly different style of tank top lane, but we're keeping on that trend of tank tops for gem top.
I hear that he goes where he pleases. Oh my god. I was actually wondering if he was going to pick Scion just for an outrageously tanky individual. No, we've
Oh, the
decided that
Fiora's
Fiora.
the hover. Lamppost seems to like giving Slappy the chance to carry these games. We saw the Silas in game 1. The Kench looked pretty good in game 2.
Ooh!
Now we're going to be seeing the Fiora in game 3.
I would have been very excited to see Scion and to watch how ending Scion works. But no, we've got Fiora, who was, of course, a definitively better answer to Mundo than Scion would have been.
Yeah, Scion is one of those more handshaky matchups where it's just like, okay, we're
Scion
both
is more,
tanks.
I'm gonna kill myself and then punch your tower.
Well, that's that particular style of Scion, but there is also just the regular old tank Scion that is
That's
just
lame.
handshaking with Mundo. Just saying, okay, you're going to sit there and farm. I'm going to sit here and farm. We're both going to be tanks in the late game, and nobody is going to be here. But we are seeing the Fiora, which is the definite hard counter matchup into Mundo, just trying to take advantage of that percent health true damage.
Well, the Fiora definitely a good choice. I am curious as to the decision with regards to the Rengar. I think Rengar can probably hurt Fiora fast enough that it might be a problem.
It's going to be a matter of that W, that parry timing, and whether he can get it off in time. I do like that OG Roach is going back to the Rengar that we saw in game 1. It had pretty good success instead of like the Nocturne that we saw that really had a bit of a disconnect from his team in that game too.
I was joking a little bit, but I do think that Leandries is probably the strongest choice for Morgana in this game.
Yeah, there's the potential for something like Everfrost or Imperial Mandate, but I think it is most likely going to be the Leandries. It's just good enough into people who have high amounts of health, like Thresh and like Mundo, and it's not bad into these squishies either because it is still burning magic damage. It's not bad.
Well, Morgana really just loves her roots and burns. She's just a huge fan of them.
Yeah, extra damage over time never feels bad for her. I think this top lane matchup again is just going to have that volatility that we saw in game 1. And what we saw in game 1 was Slappy get an early lead, but he just wasn't able to translate it into that win.
Well, luckily he picked someone who actually can be a huge issue in the late game.
Yeah, Fiora definitely a bit more of a threat in the late game than Silas can be, though a different kind of threat because Fiora isn't really the same team fight threat that you would think of Silas. She's definitely
Fiora's just, I'm gonna run over to this guy and punch him in the face 6 times and he just dies.
I'm gonna hit your towers in the side lanes and make sure that you have to
I'm
take
going to hit
4
E.
or 4v3.
I'm going to hit E and you are going to lose an inhibitor.
Yeah, the Q and the E, the amount of damage that she can output to towers, especially if she picks up the Triforce, gets their Sheen procs. It's a lot of damage.
I don't expect Triforce. I think she might go Divine.
Divine's taking a couple hits and nerfs. I think that's going to be dependent on whether she's looking for the 1v1 or looking for the split push. Triforce is definitely better if you are trying to take towers or fight the squishier targets like the Rengar, but if you're just looking to deal with Mundo, it's probably Sunderer.
I do think that we're going to see a Hull Breaker.
I would be surprised. I haven't been seeing as much Hullbreaker recently, except for, like you were talking about, the Scion builds that are just like, hey, I don't care how many times I die, I'm going to take your tower.
I'm going to beat this tower to death with my fists. You cannot stop me. You do not have the CC required.
Yeah, especially given, I think that's something to point out. For this IDS side, they don't have a lot of crowd control. Not really a lot that can make the
Mundo gives basically
Fiora
nothing.
Stop.
Rengar can, under very specific circumstances. Does Corki have crowd control? I've never played Corki.
No. Unless you count the package, which has a little bit of displacement on it when you first cast it and send it through the whole team.
I don't think we count that.
Yeah, it's like a 6-minute cooldown. It's not exactly reliable. Jinx has their traps, but they are very easy to walk around. Thresh is the only one with the real consistent crowd control here for IDS.
Thresh is a good setup for Jinx traps. So Jinx's traps can be a lot more reliable with the Thresh.
Yeah, definitely can have more of that consistency, but these are things that are not impossible for Fiora to just parry and get a stun off on you, or even for Ashe to have a black shield on her and just walk around them, or for Ahri to dash around. It's a very low crowd control comp, and I think this is going to potentially spell doom for IDS, because if this
You really
Ahri
have to lock the Fiora and the Ahri down. They will just run around annihilating your team if you don't.
Yeah, and that's even assuming the Fiora's in the team fight. If she's off in the side lane, I don't think Mundo, in most capacities, can really match her. Unless he gets egregiously fed in the early game and can snowball out of control.
Which I don't foresee happening with Slappy.
I would be surprised if that were the case.
I am excited to watch this mid matchup. Corky can hurt hard enough to carry the game by himself.
Yeah, Corky and Jinx, again, late game damage threats. Once they get those 3 items in their pocket, 3 or 4 items, they're feeling very strong. It's just going to be, again, a matter of getting there. Like we've seen in game 1 and 2, it's the early and the mid versus the late.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen both comps executed to their succession in both games 1 and 2.
Well, they transitioned a little bit into the late game. Fiora and Morgana are pretty equivalently good the whole time.
Yeah, they definitely have not as much scaling threat, but as much
Which is
not
very
falling
consistent.
off threat.
Yeah. Corky is a
Again,
huge late game problem, though. And Thresh, of course, infinitely scales, but who cares?
yeah, people don't. In terms of the infinite scaling champions, Thresh is definitely the weakest of the 4. Just given that infinite scaling, a little bit of AP and armor is a lot less valuable to Thresh than it is to someone like Sion or Vigar.
There's more than 4.
Infinite scaling would be Vigar, Sion, Nasus, Thresh, Senna, I guess.
And Kindred.
Yeah, I guess you can count Kindred. Her stacks are a little bit slower, but I guess
She does infinitely scale.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And her
fall off
infinite
as fast.
scaling is actually really hard with a max health damage infinite scale.
Yeah, all right, I can respect that. So the 6, definitely the weakest, but I think we are also kind of ignoring the threat of the Rengar, given that Ashe is so
Rengar was a huge problem for them in the first game. So we'll see if he can replicate that, which he should be able to. I don't foresee him having much difficulty against this team, at least in comparison to how much difficulty he had in the first one.
Yeah, just given the squishy immobile targets of the Ashe and the Morgana, it's another situation where the jungler should just be able to tell the bot lane that they can't play the game. But we saw kind of what happens when that doesn't happen in game 2, where the Nocturne didn't get far enough ahead, wasn't really tanky enough, wasn't doing enough damage to really be a threat, was really just a paranoia button, and not a super effective one at that.
I am very excited to watch this mid lane. I think this mid lane is going to be the most interesting matchup.
The mid lane has the most potential to be the most volatile, aside from the top lane if Fiora can get ahead. But aside from that, we are loading ourselves into the game one more time as we get into game 3. Looking at the runes across the board, everything seems fairly normal. I do want to point out Gemtop and Randy Newman for a bit of interesting rune choice on their part.
I'm pretty sure Fleet Footwork is extremely common for Mundo.
I haven't seen a lot of Mundos, so I wasn't sure. I assumed that it was just Grasp of the Undying because he
usually doesn't go Grasp just because his region is so potent anyway. He just doesn't care.
Yeah, I do also want to point out the Glacial Augment from Randy Newman. It's one of the other choices that you take along with something like Comet or Airy. This one is
okay. So we're gonna see an Imperial Mandate then.
Oh, here we go. The Charm and the Binder coming through. Ojiroche has to flash away. The Ignite is down on him, but he's gonna be able to walk away. Slappy is here though. Ojiroche doesn't have his flash, and Slappy does. Gets the Q forward. Gets the last auto attack. First blood goes to Slappy, and this is a disaster for IDS. Gemtop has to flash away as well. Slappy wants to try and find this kill. One more auto attack. Can't find the last auto. The Q is gonna come up any second now, but Gemtop finds the kill back. And what
so
was it?
greedy.
What was going to be a disaster for IDS turns out to be okay.
Neutral.
Not great, but not terrible. It is still first blood on a Fiora, so she does get the extra health potion and the longsword in her inventory. But it is a kill back on Mundo, which I think definitely has a lot less value than the kill on the Fiora does.
Yeah, the first gold being huge for Fiora.
Yeah, Rengar dying, even though he got technically a little bit of gold from his first strike proc. I wouldn't say that's worth it. I would say definitely not great for him, especially losing his
I do
not
think 15 gold matches 400.
Yeah, there's a little bit of math difference there. But now we're going to see Gemtop farming in the top lane the way Mundo does in this matchup by pressing Q and staying far away.
Hey, not just that. He might run up and hit E sometimes.
Every once in a while, if Fiora doesn't have the vital proc in the right area, I
Right.
suppose.
That's pretty much the only method. His Q is so ridiculous. Like
It's a good amount of damage and a good amount of sustain for him as well.
30% current health damage, minimum 300 is stupid.
It's nice. Again, we have Adam Suki on this Volley Bear. We've already seen him get a fair amount of gameplay off in the early game, but I want to see him do something pre-6. That's one of the strengths that Volley Bear has, as opposed to the picks that OG Roach has been pulling out, this Rengar and the Nocturne, that are really reliant on that level 6 mark, or maybe like level 5 if they have enough damage in their kit. Volley Bear doesn't need damage to be effective in a gank. He has press the attack. He has the auto attack resets. He can do a lot more.
Fiora 6 is terrifying. Fiora's ult is so potent.
Yeah, Fiora's ult into this particular team, especially against the Mundo, is going to be
Cute.
difficult for him to play around, to say the least. But I want to see Adam Suki get some effectiveness off. I would actually really like to see him influence this top lane and make sure that Slappy has a comfortable laning phase. Let the Ashe and Morgana sit back and play defensive. Let Ahri scale up to that 1.5 items mark where she can really start to have the damage threat.
Right. But if Corki pops off, we can see that happen too.
Potentially, yeah, but he did start tier, which I think signals to me that he really just wants to farm up and play safe-ish.
Yeah.
But speaking of playing safe, Adam Suki has a little bit of a positioning advantage. Gem top is a little bit low. We've got to fight on the bottom side as well. Black Shield is not on Randy Newman. Zalp is exhausted, so there's no kill going to be coming through. OG Roach has to walk away. The flashes were burned in the mid lane as well. It was 2 flashes traded for 1. Watercat burned his flash to get away from that gank. So a winning map overall for IDS, even with Gem top taking a bit of an L in the top side.
I am excited to watch Volibear get these Rift Heralds. I think he has a much better overall jungle objective advantage over the Rengar.
He should have the objective control. Again, he's more of an early game champion, can do more with his basic abilities, isn't as item reliant as Rengar is. We've already seen him get onto the map and force a flash out of Watercat, so I think that's a good start for him. I just want to see how much more he can do. Okay, Slappy taking a little bit of damage. He missed the Q. Goes on a longer cooldown if you don't hit it.
He's not having great success with these Qs.
Yeah, despite his early CS lead, which I think is fairly massive for being only 5 minutes in the game, his Qs are going a little bit wide, and the double longsword in inventory signals to me that he is going to be opting for the Divine Sunderer, not the Triforce.
Hey.
So I think Slappy is actually going to be looking to team fight a little bit more, maybe just to match the Mundo and make this front line non-existent.
The sheen before Mundo is backed is large.
Yeah, that combined with the percent health damage and the base damage that Fiora has will make it difficult for Mundo to exist in this lane. A nice charm for the Leroy, but no mana to follow up. So just gonna walk
I like
at
the
him
charming
slowly.
Corki just so he shoots you in the face. Because his
Second wind, a nice hook. Black Shield is going to stop the traps and the flay from coming through. Good binding, but I don't know if they really want to take a follow-up trade. Again, Ashe Morgana, not the highest damage lane in the early game, especially when Zalp has already gotten that recall off.
Right. I do think that Jinx is once again going to be very content and just doing her best to stand there and farm up.
I am not a huge fan of the start from Gem Top. He's a level down right now. Slappy has a level 6 mark, maybe looking to go for the kill.
Ooh.
Pops down the Grand Challenge.
Good
Gem
flash.
Top forced to flash away. And that's a flash force just to burn your ulti. That's a pretty good start. But I think if Gem Top had opted for maybe instead of going for the Bramble Vest, going for the Warden's Mail instead, might be able to match up a little bit better.
Well, I think I don't think there was much he could do there. He pretty much has to just run away.
At
Once-
that point,
once he
he
gets
has to
ulted.
flash. Absolutely. But I think in terms, like, the later this game gets and the more time he spends in this lane, the worse that Bramble Vest is going to feel. Because for Fiora versus Mundo, you're not exactly worried about her out-sustaining you. I think you're more worried about just how much raw damage she's going to output.
Right, she will just obliterate you if you allow her to.
Yeah, and with the pressure top side that Adam Suki has been positioning, the top and the mid side, I should say, it means that OG Roach is going to pick up the first dragon, get that Hex Tech Drake for his team, With an Infernal rolling second, we could see another Cloud Soul.
Ooh, please. We're not that lucky, are we? I think it is like 60%. It's overwhelmingly the most likely soul.
I don't know if the math exactly backs it up, but that's certainly what it feels like, but that might just be a confirmation bias. For now, we see Roach and Adam Suki on this bottom side.
I'm speaking a little bit out of my ass, but it is significantly more likely than the others.
Yeah, I think that might just be confirmation bias. I'd have to see the math behind it.
No, that one is. That one is. I have looked at the math before because it was annoying me how much I saw it. But it is significantly more.
Yeah, Adam Suki, look at how much time he's spending down here, just making sure that his team does not get covered by this. OG Roach taking the fight down. Suki, second wind, just going in onto Zalp. Or not onto Zalp, onto Zealot. 2 Z80 carries. Taken down. OG Roach living on a sliver of HP. Gonna get the jump in onto Randy Newman. I think is gonna let him escape from Adam Suki as well. And now second wind might be the target, the one in trouble. Nice route onto Zalp, but he's gonna get Adam Suki picked up now with Ari getting the resets. Gets that last auto attack through onto the Thresh, picks up that one. It's a triple kill for the Ari, another dash away, but now the Water Cat has rotated down, has the cleanse, gets that one onto Randy Newman, looking to get the last kill onto the Leroy, has the big one. It's a double kill for the Corky. That's a very messy fight, but overall,
that was bloody.
I think that is very slightly in favor of IDS.
That was bloody. I don't know. Lamppost got a lot.
They got 3 kills on the Ari, and the problem is the Corky kill came in before the shutdown gold could manifest, which means that Ari is still sitting on 300 extra gold to shutdown. That gold didn't go into Corky's pocket.
I do like the Hex Drinker first.
Yeah, this is a thing we've been seeing a lot from Corkys in general, just because they're playing into mages so often. You just grab the early Hex Drinker, sit on it for a while, especially given that Volibear is like, I'd say about like 40-30% magic damage. It's not bad value into him either. Just helps him survive the lane a little bit more.
The Slappy
nice smoke from second wind. The flag gets knocked out by the Black Shield, but the box is going to land. The stopwatch just pops, but I'm pretty sure Randy Newman is dead anyway. There's the kill picked up by Zalp. Nice.
Zalp has been doing very, very well transitioning from Pow Pow to Fishbones.
Yeah, he's been playing it fairly well, just knowing his auto attack ranges and how much attack speed he's able to get up with Pow Pow before he swaps over to the rocket launcher.
Corky is having a blast, blasting at Ari. The Rengar needs to make himself a bit more known. But I think his main issue is just there's not much you can do against Fiora, who can just leave if she feels like it.
Yeah, he's not really going to be looking to pressure the top side. Ari has the mobility. Morgana has the Black Shield. It's a game setup where it's really difficult for Rengar to actually influence these lanes because they're so defensive and so easy to get away from these ganks with. So I think OG Roach is actually fairly happy to just try and sit in the jungle and farm up his camps as efficiently as possible and just trying to influence the map and counter gank Adam Suki as opposed to forcing the issue himself.
It looks like Morg is going to go Zhonya's first item.
I don't hate that for Morgana, actually, just because Zhonya's is such an effective item on her. Oh, OG Roach finds Adam Suki on his Raptors, gets the first strike proc and the damage in. It's a lot of damage coming through, but I think Adam actually managed to pick up most of the Raptors, so he's not going to be upset walking away from that one.
Adam does have a little bit of a CS advantage. A teensy tiny one.
Adam Suki is looking to get the...
As opposed to top lane, oh my god.
Yeah, where it is a expected 50 CS gap. I think Fiora is actually going to do neither of what we expected out of her, and is going to get the...
No, Stride Breaker.
What? Stride Breaker?
Yeah, huh.
It's certainly a choice for her. I don't know if it's exactly what I would go for. But again, I'm not a top laner, so I don't know the intricacies of these particular Fiora builds. But the Sheen in inventory as well makes me think it has to be Essence Weaver, right? It's not going to be Lich Bane.
Could be Trinity.
Here comes the auto attacks in. Slappy getting the autos down. Gem top, forcing the ulti out of himself. But he stepped up too far. There's the grand challenge. The true damage doesn't come through. But Slappy with a push forward into the queue. Picks up that kill.
We decided that Mundo was not going to live anymore.
Yeah, he did have to lose his flash to do it, but I think he's fairly comfortable winning that 1v1, losing his flash. Watercat has the package. Leroy's here. There's the package. A nice exhaust through. Leroy trying to get onto him. There goes Randy Newman, absolutely deleted before the fight can start. Adamsuki trying to get the damage onto Zal. The shield comes through from the lantern as well, but he's going to get burned down by the red smite. Adamsuki picks up that kill in return, but I think it's still going to mean the Infernal Dragon is going to go in favor of IDS, and this is the second Dragon for them in the early game. This is very reminiscent of Game 1.
Infernal and Hextech is such a huge combination.
Hey, it's Cloud Soul again!
Oh my god! That's amazing.
And like in Game 2, I don't think IDS really dislikes playing with Cloud Soul. Corki gets a bit of effectiveness out of it, just being able to reposition. Same with Jinx. Mundo gets to position better in team fights with the movement speed already coming out of his ulti. Rengar very similarly. It's not awful.
No, but it's still Cloud Soul. Any other soul would be better.
Yeah, I think they would much prefer the Infernal. Maybe not the Mountain, but definitely the Infernal Soul will be much more preferred for them.
But, oh well. We do like the slow resist against Ashe.
Yeah, the slow resist against Ashe is pretty good, but we also have to remember, if IDS is forced to give up a couple dragons, with it being Cloud Dragons, it's not...
Right, no one cares.
It's not a hefty price to pay. The extra slow resist and out-of-combat movement speed is nice, but I don't think it's anywhere near the same as giving up, say, like a couple Hextech Dragons or a couple Infernal Dragons.
Right, even Mountain.
Yeah, just those stacking resistances. And if you're playing a poke comp, giving up Ocean Dragons is essentially a death sentence, just because the regen you're giving to your opponents. But for pretty much any team, giving up Cloud Dragon never feels the worst.
No.
Andy Newman, good Splill Shield. Is it the second wind wants in, though? The Lantern is not here for his AD carry just yet. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to do plenty of damage, but second wind just went a little bit too over-aggressive. And that is shutdown gold given over to Zealot. OG Roach has now made his way down. A nice arrow comes down. Nice flash away from Zealot. There's the cleanse from OG Roach getting that W down. Zealot taking lots of damage. Adamsuki picks up OG Roach. There's the excitement. Zealot gets to walk away from that one, but that is still not the best trade for IDS. 2 for 1.
A colossal root from Morgana.
Yeah, really nice black shields and really nice bindings. Morgana is really coming in strong in this particular game. Just a full counter to Thresh. There's not a lot that he can do in this lane.
The roots are so absurd.
The roots are absurd. The black shield is super good into the hook and the flay. The glacial augment also putting in work as well, making it so that Zealot doesn't die. It's just being very well executed on.
That is a stride breaker, which is a mistake.
That is stride breaker completed for sure, and I think that also signals that Slappy wants to be team fighting, wants to be able to get access onto this Corki and onto this Jinx, which I don't think is like any sort of incorrect way to play Fiora. It's a play style. It's just not what we were expecting, and with him looking with the Sheen in inventory, I think for sure it's an Essence Reaver second item, which is an odd build, but everybody's building Essence Reaver nowadays, so I guess why not Fiora?
Just so much fun. Why wouldn't you?
I mean, the item is fairly cheap. It's very gold efficient. The procs that it gives
It's
are
the
really
mirror
good.
mana of the top lane.
Oh, Slappy gets the Stride Breaker slowed down onto Gem Top. Gets that last auto in. The crit confirms the kill.
Overall, just a ton of... The damage that Fiora outputs is ridiculous. Her second guaranteed crit is so brutal.
Yeah, despite it not being, I'm pretty sure, not full damage crit, it's still a critical strike. It still hurts
I think
a lot.
It's close to a full crit.
I'd have to look at the actual numbers on it, but I'm fairly certain, if I'm remembering correctly, it scales up in terms of its damage, but I'm not 100% confident on that. I'd have to look it up and see.
So any crit's better than no crit.
Yeah, any crit is increased damage, and especially when your opponent has opted for not Warden's Mail and that Bramble Vest instead, I think Slappy is very happy to be sitting on an item, half an item ahead of his lane opponent right now.
Yeah, especially for that opponent being Mundo.
Ooh, Adam Suki finds the blue buff, but I think this is not worth it for you, bud. Flashes away, maybe can escape. OG Roach pop the ulti, but a nice charm for Leroy is going to keep him down. The Ignite plus the ulti procs coming through. Leroy picks up that kill. Now we got to fight on the bottom side as well. Second win, looking for Randy Newman. Gemtop wants to keep the fight going, but Slappy is here with a grand challenge, takes him down. Super Mega Death Rocket does plenty of damage. The exhaust comes through. Second win, finally picks up Randy Newman. The flash play doesn't come through. The hook goes wide as well. He pulls a yellow star. Doesn't find a kill for himself, but they do finally pick up Randy Newman during the course of that fight, so it's all right.
The Fiora and the Ari are...
It's so much mobility.
Yeah. Especially with the cooldown faux reset on Fiora Q.
Yeah, the cooldown reset along with just the amount of CDR that's coming through with Stridebreaker plus Essence Reaver. You get enough CDR, means this first dragon is going to go over to Lamppost.
The Cloud Drag!
Yeah, they get their first Cloud Dragon, which is starting towards a soul stack, but stacking Cloud Soul doesn't feel as good as something like we were talking about, stacking...
That is, however, a
Infernal Soul.
lot of out-of-combat move speed. You are as close to omnipresent as you can get without being Nocturne.
It is worth remembering, though, to get those next 3 dragons, it's going to be another 14.5 minutes.
That's true.
So we are going to be here for a while, and if that is the case, Watercat and Zalp are not upset to be going into this game at least minimum 32 minutes for the soul fight, let alone thinking about Baron and Elder.
We are going Lord Dominic's second item this time on that Jinx.
We love to see the adaptation.
Or
Even though there's
for
less tanks in this game for him to work around, I still appreciate it because LDR is plenty of damage.
Bad.
I would be shocked if we saw Cirilla's one Jinx.
It'd be bad, but it'd be funny.
There's the ulti in from Leroy. Somehow he finds the charm from a minion wave. How did that hit? But Leroy's going to take a lot of damage in response to that. Slappy again, the Stridebreaker slow, gets the vital procs. Plenty of damage coming through from this Fiora. Doesn't even bother with anti-heal. Just knows he has the burst to kill. OG Roach flashes in, grabs himself the shutdown gold on to the Leroy. I don't know if he needed to flash, but honestly, to get 750 gold, you take it.
Yeah, I was about to say. The shutdown gold is, who cares?
Oh, second wind, you have stepped up a little bit too far. He has the Mercury Treads, but he is just going to get crowd controlled up before he can do anything. Trying to get to the wall so he can flash over, but doesn't even have flash. I don't know why he's walking into the wall like that. Maybe trying to bait an opponent to flash over preemptively, but just going to get taken down for overstepping his boundaries.
You tried.
And with the Rift Herald in the pocket of Adam Suki, I think that's just going to be this tower taken down. And it feels like Lamppost is starting to run away with this one. The gold lead is not heftily in their favor, but the momentum certainly is. Watercat has come down to help clear the waves out. It is level 13 Corki, so those rockets are going to hurt very hard. Gemtop, I feel like you're on the wrong side of this lane. You should not be anywhere near here. Here's the grand challenge again. Good healing out from Gemtop, but it is not going to matter. Slappy on a rampage, picking up his 5th kill of the game.
600 shutdown gold.
Yeah, he is already sitting on 9,000
Wow.
gold. He is 3,000 gold, more than 3,000 gold actually, ahead of his lane opponent. Nowhere else in the game are we seeing a difference anywhere even close. The supports have about less than 1,000. The junglers are about a couple hundred. Mid lane is about a little bit less than 1,000. The gold lead for Lamppost right now is all on Slappy.
The Fiora is just such a strong pick against Mundo.
Yeah, this is going to be a really difficult one, I think, for IDS to work around, because now Fiora really has the option of playing the side lane or playing the team fights. She's so far ahead and has so much money in her pocket. She can really run wherever she wants in this game and play however she would like.
Fiora's behaving a lot more like Mundo than even Mundo, and that she can truly go where she pleases.
Fiora goes where she pleases. I mean, Mundo can go where he pleases. It just might... some people might call it an intentional... Oh, nice arrow from Zealot. Good cleanse away finally. A little bit late from Watercat. Leroy lost his ulti and his ignite. Watercat is going to survive just barely.
I think
But
Watercat
the
was
cleanse
really
was a little
hoping
bit
he
late
didn't
there.
have. Well, I think he was just really hoping he wouldn't have to. What for? I'm not sure. In case he got charmed by Ari, I suppose. But
Yeah, I think he was maybe hoping to get a little bit more cooldowns out of the Leroy. Maybe if Leroy flashes forward and tries to play that a bit more aggressively, the cleanse can bait that out. But it felt like a situation where you got knocked by the arrow, you take the L, and you just burn your cleanse.
yeah, that would have been the better option.
Gemtop is just attempting to sit under tower and farm. He needs this lane to just sit here and freeze for a little bit and not push it up. But with the Sunfire item and the Bramble Vest, it's going to be difficult for him to keep the wave where he wants it. Unless Slappy keeps pushing it forward, which I guess is also fine for him. But I feel like Slappy comes out of that ahead every time. Find over the wall, not going to be anything for Randy. Second Wind is standing aggressively. Knows that Randy Newman isn't close to his AD carry. The hook barely goes wide. We do have the Zhonya's completed for Randy Newman, so he can try and make some sort of aggressive flash play. Lantern is going to reveal Lamppost. Corki is going to get his recall off, but he doesn't have a teleport and the dragon is spawned. It feels like IDS should really just be grabbing some farm and some side lanes and giving up this dragon. It is second Cloud Dragon. It doesn't particularly matter. Leroy, the charm is going to go wide. Plenty of damage onto second wind, but no kill to come through. Watercat has the package. They might not even look to give the dragon. They might just look to get themselves 2 soul point. It looks like Lamppost is going to give it to him.
We just really want the Cloud Soul. It's so important for us.
In all honesty, I think Lamppost is okay giving up Soul. 1, because it's Cloud Soul, and 2, because that gets them to Elder Dragon, which could really be their win condition this game.
What I think we're going to see, though, is ID just giving the rest of the Drakes up to Soul Point.
Yeah, if they don't take any other dragons this game, then they delay Elder Dragon by a lot more. It's another 5 minutes of time added on to getting to that Elder Dragon, which is 5 more minutes for Gemtop to become an actual...
Fiora actually did go Hullbreaker.
Wow, okay, she did. This is certainly a Fiora build. Ash Arrow's gonna go wide, might find second wind, but there's nothing happening there. Adamsuki going in onto Zalp, but the Lantern is there. I don't think he's gonna get picked up. Adamsuki now the one in trouble. A nice hook. There's the Stormbreaker to take down the tower. Gemtop taking a lot of damage. Fine, not gonna find anybody. They're just gonna use it to take the tower down and walk away.
The Fiora has decided that the bot lane is hers now.
Oh, OG Roche. Zealot has to flash away. A nice cleanse away from that charm. Leroy back over the wall, picks up the kill, and now he's got the resets on his ulti. Damaging on his Zalp. Leroy is a menace in these team fights. It's a double kill for him. Watercat trying to put damage down to the backline. Gemtop trying to tank up the Leroy at the same time. Watercat gets exhausted by Zealot, but he's got the damage coming through. The Hextrigger shield is going to keep him alive in the Morgana pool. Adamsuki and Leroy are still alive. The Watercat goes on a killing spree. The Rockets are coming over the wall. Adamsuki wants it. Charm goes a little bit wide. Watercat's going to survive in the meantime. Slappy is pushing down the bottom side. Watercat, the minions are not gonna... They are gonna kill him! Shutdown Gold goes over to Randy Newman. Gemtop, the last one alive. I think he might be in a little bit of trouble here as Adamsuki is just gonna walk at him and auto-attack him menacingly as Slappy is taking down the base.
Slappy is doing his best to end here with his Hullbreaker.
He's got the Hullbreaker, he had a super minion, or he had a cannon minion, which means that the inhibitor tower goes down, and the next time he gets down into the he gets down there during a fight, that is probably the end of the game.
You can't just let him split push you like that.
And if he's going to be split pushing like that, you have to win the fight. Oh, Zalp, you may have overstepped your bounds. He has the grand challenge. Good flash over the wall, but Slappy's going to flash in return and just delete the AD carry. Unstoppable goes the Fiora now. OG Roche using his ulti to try and run away as fast as he possibly can. There's the Lantern to get him out, but yeah, Zalp, you cannot be walking that far forward without vision. And with that, all the people showing up bot side, that's going to be the Barret for Lamppost.
Everyone is around. Now you have the opposite problem.
Oh, they have 4 people here for the Fiora. Slappy might actually be in trouble. Gets himself over the wall, and there's nobody to follow him, so he just gets to walk out for free.
That was... You managed to make both common split-pushing mistakes. Back to back.
Sending nobody down and getting your
sending everybody down.
While there's an objective up on the map.
It's... wow. That's unfortunate.
Slappy and the Leroy, after what I would call is a not great performance in Game 1, have really showed up strong in Game 2 and 3.
Slappy had an okay performance. Leroy just didn't itemize well in the first game.
Yeah, but again, like just the fact that they couldn't close out the win with the lead that they had, I think was the disappointing part of that performance. They had such a shining early game, but they let it fall apart in the mid and late. This game might
Still
go
the opportunity
late.
to do that. Again, still the opportunity.
Yeah, this game is definitely going to go later. I don't think we're going to be seeing the end of this game for the next, if I had to guess, 5 minutes, if not longer, because there's no real Elder Dragon to push us forward. The Baron really being the only damage threat.
Well, Baron with
pushing threat.
Baron with Hullbreaker on that Fiora. I think that top tower is going to go down, especially.
Oh, Second Wind gets caught out. Can't even get the Aftershock down onto himself. The Black Shield is coming through. Second Wind, he's still alive. Finally going to go down thanks to Adam Suki. There's the Stormbreaker. Doesn't disable the tower, though. He gets picked up. Shutdown Gold goes over to Watercat, but the Leroy dives in. Gets himself 2 kills. Again, this Ori is a machine. An absolute menace in these team fights. Leroy goes on a rampage. Zealot gets the last hit onto OG Roach, and now Gemtop is going to try and exist against Slappy, but I don't think he's allowed. Slappy not playing it exactly well. Gemtop has the health regen. He might actually be able to win this fight in the 1 versus 1. Slappy trying to heal as much as he possibly can, but no, it's Shutdown Gold over to Gemtop. Not exactly who you want to see the Shutdown Gold on, but it's 1,000 gold. You'll take it.
I don't think that taking 475 tower shots was the move.
Yeah, generally taking a bunch of tower shots is not the plan. Lamppost, I think, is going to send through the pause and say, hey, Slappy, is your mouse disconnected? Did your keyboard go haywire? Is that why you were fighting him under tower like that?
Slappy, you ran into their fountain. What are you doing?
Yeah, that is 1,000 gold shutdown, and he still has shutdown gold to his name to give over. This is, I wouldn't say it's a concerning spot to be in for Lamppost, because you do have 2 exposed inhibitors, one of which being taken, and your Fiora is incredibly fed, you're already sitting on a Medjai's, you're feeling alright. But giving over 1,000 gold of shutdown, and the amount of time and gold that IDS is going to be able to take and scale up and
yeah, you're out of the game for 43 seconds.
Yeah. That's 43 seconds where Mudo can farm uncontested, and let alone the, like, game time of, oh, Cloud Dragon number 2 for our team is finally spawning. Maybe we can get to Elder in the next 15 minutes. Maybe.
Well, even that, it's not just that. That's 43 seconds that you can't split push with your Hullbreaker, whose sole existence is to allow you to split push.
Yeah, it's more time for IDS.
That could be a catastrophic error.
Yeah, the extra gold and the amount of time that IDS now is allowed to breathe, because it's not just respawn time, it's also getting back out onto the map.
Well, you're going to be here for another 28 minutes.
We're gonna wait out the full pause time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go make some pizza rolls.
Just looking at our point in the game that we're in, Corky's almost on that 3rd item. Rengar's also almost on that 3rd
Corky
item.
getting
Getting close
too.
Yeah, IDS is starting to hit these item power points where they're like, maybe we can actually like take a fight now. Thresh will almost be on that Knight's Vow, which is going to make him a lot more difficult to kill. Randy Newman getting close to Imperial Mandate, but I would say that's a lot less of a power spike than his Zanya's was.
I'm very disappointed that Randy Newman is going Imperial Mandate.
I think he's assuming that his team has enough damage, which in most cases might be true. But again, if this game goes later,
and if this Mundo makes a bunch with his new minted 1,000 gold, much like the Federal Reserve, he just printed it out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would say he definitely didn't deserve to bring that money. That felt like it was definitely Slappy's fight to lose, not Gemtop's fight to win.
Yeah. It's more of a throw than an outplay.
I will say sorry for everyone in the stream that is currently listening to the repeated sounds of
Corky Rocket. Oh god, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out, but now I can hear it, and now I'm not going to stop hearing it.
Yeah,
it's very light in the background, just Corky going.
Yeah, you know, giving us a
What
nice
are you talking
little...
about? This is actually this is just the real time duration of Corky Rockets. That's
how
just
long
how
does he
long the
actually land
barrage
for?
lasts.
Oh, true. The E where it just shreds all of your armor and magic resist like that.
It's just toggle.
Just like Urgot's W.
Yeah. Or like Mundo's old magic resist
His
ability.
yeah.
His little torch that he could turn on for some
Yeah,
reason.
he just toggled on the fire. He just turned himself on fire. He just
No,
flicked it
it's
on
and,
the
he
called.
took, and he just took less magic damage.
I forgot what it was called, but it was just
I
like
forgot.
it was masochism or sadism because it wasn't named correctly. It was really weird.
no, because like his ulti is sadism.
Yeah, his ulti is sadism, so I
His
think the
E's
W
masochism. I thought
His E is masochism?
I thought his
Hey.
E was masochism, where he.
I thought his E was masochism.
And then his Q was bone cleaver, and his W was just like. I don't even know.
His W was burning agony.
There we go. Right,
Oh.
it was a pun.
What a sane individual.
Yeah, very.
How
He
pleasant.
set himself on fire and gained tenacity and also got extra magic resist.
Yeah.
No, the magic resistance came from his E. His W was just the tenacity.
Ah.
The magic
Old
resist
Mundo
comes
was
from
messed up.
yeah. The magic resist came from his E because it was whenever he took damage, including self-inflicted damage, he would have gained a little bit of magic resist.
Yeah,
That's
which
what-
included damage that he took from his W.
Oh my god. We will be here for 25 more minutes.
All right. So, anyone got a good story to go on while we're waiting for all 25 minutes going on? Right
Yeah,
now?
so the funniest joke I've heard recently is the fact that they're buffing Karthus Jungle.
Ah, yes.
The notes actually came out for that pretty recently.
Yes.
They're buffing
His Q, 10% more damage against creeps. 95% instead of 85%.
Where is Karthus? I don't see him
See.
in the 12-8 preview.
They may.
I don't think they care.
I
Or was
think.
he-
Was that in 12-7 or
I think
12-8?
he
I
was
think that was
12-7.
12-7. Yeah. Here.
So it's already rolled out.
Yeah, damage against monsters 85% to 95%. Yeah, sheesh.
Which is huge, because he wasn't really
I guess
having...
Karthus wasn't farming the jungle fast enough. He needed a little bit more.
Right!
Yeah. it
Oh,
is.
hey, the game's back on.
Oh.
Oh, we're finally on pause.
Oh my
But I
god!
don't know if the countdown happens, so we might just be in a little bit of a mini pause because spectator delay. We'll find out in a couple
Yeah.
seconds. But
This delay will happen in like a couple seconds, and then we'll be back into the game proper. Unless we're just back into the game proper, we could be. The Cloud Dragon has spawned up. There's our spectator delay. We were waiting for it. There it is. It'll be gone in a few seconds, but the Cloud Dragon is up. I really don't want to see IDS contest this at all. I want them to just leave this and take the farm that's sitting in their base right now.
Well, Mundo's gonna take a quarter of Ari's health for funsies.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like I don't like that they're positioning here. I don't like that they're standing here looking like they want to contest this.
They really
These
want...
are videos that they can farm. Gemtop taking a lot of damage. Doesn't have the ulti for herself just yet. OG Roach wants to get into the fight. Randy Newman is tanky enough to survive it, though. Randy Newman picks up OG Roach. There's the package in. Plenty of damage on his Zelly. He's going to get bursted down, but Leroy still alive in the backline. Going to get the resets for his ultimate. That's a double kill for Watercat and a double kill for the Leroy. To
And
triple
Ari
for the
cheeky triple.
Leroy. Watercat trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, but there's nothing to be had there. The flash over the wall, but Leroy is there.
Oh.
There's the Zanyas. Randy Newman is going to miss the binding. No ways to dash over the wall just yet. Randy Newman doesn't die to the rockets. But there is a wave moving inside the base. Slappy gets the reset on that Q. Watercat is coming. He gets popped. That's an ace for Lamppost.
Well, that was... bad. It was a bad idea.
Yeah, I have to ask the question, why is IDS moving outside of their base to contest it? It's a Cloud Dragon. It's Soul Dragon for you, sure, but it's Cloud Soul. It doesn't make a big difference.
Well,
it's
I mean, it
more
makes a
time
huge
that your
difference.
opponents have
It
to wait
allows
to
the
get
opponent
Elder.
to get Elder.
You can
can
sit
tell.
in your base and just farm up. You don't have to go and contest the dragon. You
can
have a
tell how
full
little
jungle
they
to farm.
care.
Every camp aside from red buff is up, and it's spawning.
They're not even bothering really to take the cloud. They just waited until everyone respawned, and they're gonna try to go for it now and succeed.
Yep,
They were
Dragon
trying to
Rocket
steal
is
it.
there.
They really wanted.
I do not understand. I think that is such a big mistake for IDS, and I hope that this is not the mentality that they keep 5 minutes from now, when the next dragon spawns, Baron, they potentially have to contest, but now they don't have a package for it. They don't have a Super Mega Death Rocket for it. They're missing the jungle flash and the mid lane flash. Zalp will finally have his flash back up and his cleanse.
Oh.
If you're gonna see the same play happen again, Water Cat, it happened to your AD carry, it happens to you too. Slappy gets the solo kill, and now suddenly it's a 4v5 with the Baron up in a minute and a half.
And your Corki down, specifically.
He will spawn in time to actually make it to the Baron to contest, so it's not the worst time to die ever, but it is still another kill in Fiora's pockets when it really didn't need to be.
That's described the majority of this game as just kills in pockets when it was unnecessary.
Yeah, Gemtop has to burn his ulti to get away from Slappy. He's just taking
If
the
he
auto
does.
attacks in, the Lantern goes, and that is the third inhibitor down.
The
Because
double
the
lane.
rest of Lamppost got to just walk in for free. A nice arrow forward. Zalp has to flash and cleanse to get himself out of there. Tower is going to be disabled. Adasuki's finally going to pick up Zalp. Leroy, again, it's arriving with that sliver of HP. The slippery Ahri pick is so good in this game. OG Roach looking for the all-in on the Slappy, but he's so tanky with the Hull Breaker. He gets 2 kills for himself. Second win is the only one left alive. Water Cat is going to spawn just to watch his Nexus die, and that is going to be game 3 going the way of Lamppost.
Yay!
Just a disappointing loss for IDS.
We really threw the match away for a Cloud Drake.
Yeah, it hurts my soul because there was the avenue to victory.
We like
for
the
IDS.
dragon. We like the dragon.
Sit in your base, grab the minions, farm up, and just sit back and let your comp scale. Let yourselves get to the point where you can win.
Ahri
But they just kept
actually-
forcing fights.
Ahri passive really coming in clutch. Ahri was imminently dead several times in that fight where Mundo had almost killed her by himself.
Yeah,
but
she got the one reset that got her a chunk of 200
She
HP,
gets to
and
just
she
run
got it with
away.
less than 100.
It's so
Anyway, a disappointing loss for IDS to be sure, but a really strong closeout from Lamppost to finish this game 3. We'll be right back after a short break, getting ourselves into game 4. Don't go anywhere.
Set. We have not banned Ornn.
We have not banned Ornn. We have not banned Zaya. Welcome back to our coverage after Lamppost's pretty solid game win in this third game of the series.
This is their
IDS
match
versus
point.
Lamppost. We are now on match point. Lamppost up 2-1 with the bans changing for both sides. This time around, IDS seeing the Ari as the problem. And Lamppost, strangely enough, as a response, instead of banning the Ornn, they're going to ban the Orianna.
Maybe letting Ari go 11-1 or 5-0, not the move.
Yeah,
Maybe we shouldn't do that.
Letting Ari get fed, not the best call, but it is going to be, once again, the Jinx first pick for IDS. They've been doing this throughout the entire series.
We just really like Jinx.
Jinx is good. I'm not shocked that they're doing it. And the Zaya that snuck its way through the first round ban phase is going to be picked up.
Instantly punished. I do believe, then, that we will see an Ornn.
I would love to see Ornn from IDS. I wouldn't even hate seeing it from Lamppost here, but with the way they've been playing, these are more aggressive early game style teams. I don't think they're going to give Ornn to Slappy.
I was referring to Ornn on IDS, because Lamppost has been the one banning it each time.
Yeah, Lamppost has been the one banning it. The Rakan is locked in. The Zaya Rakan,
Rakan combo is actually significant. They do receive a hefty buff for being together.
Yeah, the Lovers duo on the bottom lane is picked up. Let's see if IDS wants to grab this Ornn in the first rotation. We've seen it banned away all 3 games prior, so obviously Lamppost was worried about it in the past, but now changing the ban over to the Orianna, which I think is not exactly what you would expect. They are right next to each other, so potentially it was a misban, but I'm not seeing anything in the lobby chat saying that it was, so I'm assuming that the Orianna is the ban, not Ornn.
They hovered her for a while too, so.
Nautilus is the support of choice. We saw it pretty successful, I would say, in game 1 alongside that Victor, so I wouldn't be surprised if they locked that in here as well, just try to run back the draft from game 1. But letting the Ornn get through, I think, would be a mistake. Oh. They're hovering it. They lock it in. Ornn is up at the top lane for Gem Top, and praise be, the best tank in the game gets locked in. The Lilia is the pretty quick insta-lock in response by Lamppost. Do you think there's any possibility that they send this top lane?
Honestly, I don't know if Lilia is the answer to their top lane. Lilia could be a jungler.
Lilia has the potential to have a good matchup into Ornn just because of that percent health magic damage. It's not bad. IDS is flashing the Volibear band, which makes me more confident that it might actually be Lilia top.
Yeah. Lilia is one of the better options for Ornn. You really just want a ranged individual, because Ornn will punish the hell. Ornn might be one of the only people who can level 3 contest Tom.
I think Shen has the potential to do it, but that's also because Shen, similar to Ornn, has that early percent health damage and does really good matchups into tanks. I think Shen is probably one of the better matchups into Ornn, actually. And it looks like IDS might not be sure where this Lilia is going, as the Fiora is the hovered ban. Maybe looking to take away that option from Slappy if they don't send that Lilia up top side.
Fiora is a solid pick against Ornn.
Yeah, Fiora into any tank, I think in general, is a solid
pick.
With that one out of Slappy's hands, the Tahm Kench has managed to sneak its way through again.
Oh,
I think it is not the best matchup versus Ornn, because he has a similar amount of sustain.
Okay, well,
with the Trundle locked in, whether it's Lilia top or Trundle top, we're getting an off-meta top laner here.
Oh, I saw a bunch of math put out by another guy. Olaf top is actually being buffed significantly in the most recent patch. Or rather, the next to be patch.
The next one that's coming with that mini Olaf update. It's going to give him a shield on his W and a permanently extending R for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm not excited for that patch to come out, but Echo is going to be the lock-in for IDS. I'm assuming that's in the jungle, but it could be mid lane. It's just going to depend on what this last pick is. But so far, IDS, again, we're seeing the late game scaling from them. We saw it work in game 1, but they just haven't been able to execute it on it in 2 and 3. They're letting the timer tick down. They're making most of their time. They're taking their time with it. Zoe is the hover, and Zoe is the blind lock-in from mid lane. Potentially blind. I suppose it could be Lilia mid. I would be really surprised if that were the case.
Well, it would be funny if Lilia were mid against Zoe. It's nap time. The mid lane nap
The
time.
sleepiest mid lane possible.
The sleepiest mid lane.
But I do like Echo here for OG Roach. I think it's a
No.
pretty solid pick. Malzahar has a pretty solid matchup into Zoe, and Anivia does as well. And Anivia's the lock-in. Lamppost, I think, playing much more aggressively towards the late game this time around with this draft. It's not as early game focused as their last ones have been.
You managed to actually pick the worst time to have that decision.
Yeah, playing late game versus Jinx or Echo, Zoe doesn't feel the best.
Just Ornn. Ornn in any team composition makes the late game miserable.
Yeah, we'll have to see if the Ornn can be the difference maker for IDS in this round.
A truly ridiculous bonus that some of the mythics get.
Yeah, and once the client draft locks in, we can confirm whether Lilia or Trundle is going into that top lane. But I think either way, it's a fairly good matchup into the Ornn, at least inside the laning phase.
I don't know if Trundle's a great one.
I think once Trundle gets that level 6 mark, if he takes the either the Pressy attack or the Conqueror, he should be doing fine.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, what else does Trundle even go?
I've seen Trundles go lethal tempo, and I wouldn't be shocked if he went grasp in the top lane, but it's mostly just been the Pressy attack almost every time, just because you have an early game, low cooldown auto attack reset. You can duel people.
Yeah. I am very excited to see how this Zoe performs. That is one of the more mechanically difficult champions. But of course, if they were picking them, they are confident in their ability to play them.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Lamppost, after the success in games 2 and 3, opted to take away the Orianna this time around. It seemed like they were doing that as a response to the Ahri ban, and they were even preparing for it by banning the Seraphine and the Karma first, as opposed to banning the Ornn like we've seen in the last 2 drafts.
I am very interested in the decision, especially since they know IDS loves these late game compositions, why they changed their Ornn ban. I would have changed, like, Karma.
Yeah, based on what we've seen casting, at least as a duo, Karma has not been the most impactful support. I will still personally fight that she is like pretty good, but just in general in the GRLCS, we haven't seen a lot out of her. But with the client draft coming through, that is going to be confirmed. Lilia for Slappy in the top lane. Do you have a lot of experience looking at the numbers for Lilia top lane?
I do not, mainly because I don't see it a lot. The main thing she does, for the most part, you can pretty much just pick Vayne for anyway.
Yeah, but I would say Lilia has a bit more potential to move
overall ability to leave.
Yeah, overall ability to not just be an 80 carry in the side lane, because she does have the potential for long-range sleeps, which is really good team fighting prowess. She doesn't take towers as well. She's not a split pusher, but she is a really good team fighter.
Shix has a 53% win rate in the top lane. Wow, okay.
What do you got for us?
Lilia versus Ornn, in general, based on 1,000 matchups, is a 55% win rate for Lilia.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not what I would have expected. And I'm assuming that this is this Lilia top Ornn top, or is this Lilia jungle Ornn top?
This is Lilia top Ornn top.
Over 1,000 matches, it's more in favor of Lilia. That's actually rather.
I guess she just builds Leandries and Demonic and then just runs away every time Ornn looks at her.
Yeah, because it is the true damage coming out from her Q, along with the burn from her passive, and then potentially Leandries with the phase rush. It's very difficult for Ornn to actually like get the auto attacks down into her. But I would feel like once the team fights start coming around, Ornn, especially the later the game goes, it would be a much better matchup for him.
I suppose that's the main thing, is the later the match goes.
Yeah, and once again,
if you just decide not to.
IDS has drafted their late game, but I would argue that Lamppost has opted for a bit more late game in their draft this time. Anivia, Zaya, and Lilia are not uncomfortable moving into that late game region as opposed to being in the early and the mid game.
I'm excited to see how the Trundle is going to maneuver. I don't think the Trundle's going to have a fun game.
Yeah, it feels like it's a difficult time for him in the early game at least. But if you are playing for the mid and the late game as opposed to the early game, like we've been seeing Lamppost doing, just getting to steal stats from Aftershock Nautilus or from Thorn, feels pretty good. It feels like you get to be a godlike tank.
Yeah, you're just getting the survivability of Nautilus for free.
You press your R button once Nautilus hits his Aftershock, which is why I would really love if Second Wind opts for Glacial Augment instead. It's going to mean less resistances for him in lane, but at the same time, it means more safety for Zelp and less stats for the Trundle to steal over the course of the game.
I personally am very excited to see how this Zaya and Rakan perform.
I'm curious whether it's going to be Crit Zaya or the Lethality Zaya that we've been seeing. I don't hate either of them in this particular game, but I think the...
I'm also curious as to how Rakan's going to build, because there is a case, a weak one, but a case to be made for AP Rakan.
With all of the magic damage coming out from Anivia and Lilia, I think almost for sure no. Especially given how Everfrost interacts with his W and that interaction still being broken, almost no chance.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if we just saw Shirelia's or Locket and he's just playing for the team.
Probably just... probably Shirelia's was Zaya.
But again, I wonder, for Zaya specifically, is it going to be lethality with the just pressing Q auto E to get a lot of poke in, or is it going to be the crit build? Because I think with her team, she might actually prefer the lethality build.
I think lethality is better in this instance, especially versus Ornn versus Nautilus. I think she's just going to get a lot more mileage out of a lethality build.
I would be really surprised if she didn't go for it. But I think both are viable here. I think the consistent damage coming out from the crit build is good, but I also think the burst coming out from the lethality build can also be effective. I think it's just a matter of, are you going to be hitting Ornn or are you going to be hitting Zoe? Or potentially Echo.
I am interested in the decision that went behind Trundle. I don't think Trundle does great here.
Yeah, I think Trundle is specifically just a counter pick for the Ornn and for the Nautilus. Just simply to make sure that if they are taking the wrong runes or they're playing fights incorrectly, Trundle gets to steal their stats and can make the team fights a lot easier to pilot for his team, because the Lamp side has a good amount of crowd control, has a good amount of AoE damage, but it doesn't really have the frontliner aside from Trundle. So he really needs to be taking as many stats as possible and doing as much as he can.
Right. I'm curious to see what the runes everyone decided to go for.
It is tempo. It is tempo on the Trundle, which I think will be better for matching up into OG Roach specifically. But Zealot has opted for Halo Blades, as opposed to the area that we usually see with the lethality or the lethal tempo that we see on the crit. So we don't actually know what he's planning on doing.
Probably the Halo Blaze is for a lethality build.
I would have to assume, just so you can get the feathers off and you can get the root down for yourself. But I already like what IDS is doing, opting for an early game invade. They're pinging the path. Slappy does not see this yet. He's going to have information on it now. We'll see what he does. Hook potentially coming through. It's over the wall. Glacial Augment is procced. The W stun is coming through. Slappy's going to flash over the wall, just trading the... Oh, 2 Ignites burn for the flash. IDS did not manage their cooldowns properly. It is 2 summoners for 1, but I still think it's slightly in favor of IDS. I thought it was just Second Wind's Ignite. I was about to be so proud of them just doing the 1 summoner for 1, but Watercat burned his Ignite as well, which is not that good for them.
Oh well.
I'm
of
also rather
being.
surprised that Watercat opted for Ignite as opposed to Teleport or something else, given that it's an Anivia lane. I'm not sure he's going to be killing him all that much.
I don't know. I think Zeri, or not Zeri, but I think Zoe might be able to kill the egg pretty easily.
Maybe she just likes her eggs over hard instead of over easy and wants to cook them for a little bit longer. But we'll have to see what the laning phase matchup actually looks like for them.
Stationary targets are quite easy to queue.
We do see Slappy with the Conqueror on the top side already playing the zoning game. Gemtop finally gets his hands on Ornn and he has to play it into Lilia, which I'm sure is not the most comfortable matchup, as we can already see. Damage is pretty hefty.
Lilia's pouncing around.
Yeah, she gets to trot around. You have Gemtop has opted for. Interestingly enough, Gemtop has also opted for Glacial Augment as opposed to something like.
Not Glacial Augment.
I was thinking in particular Unsealed Spellbook, just so you have the potential to get a kill in lane. Like if you grab an Ignite or an Exhaust, you might be able to get yourself out. Glacial Augment is a choice, as you're really only proccing it with your E or your R. I guess sometimes with your Q if somebody stands on top of it.
Yeah,
It feels like a desperation of, oh hey, I'm not gonna be able to proc Grasp in this lane. What do I take? I guess it's Glacial.
I am a support now.
As long as he's getting levels, it's not going to particularly matter for him. I don't think Ornn is a very keystone reliant champion. Watercat is going to burn his free cleanse to get away from the Leroy. Adam Suki wants to invade this blue buff though. He's already got both of his buffs cleared out.
He just wants you to not have him.
Pillar, OG Roach. With Slappy having priority in the top lane, it looks like they're going to try and walk in, but Watercat has the prowess in the mid lane. And nice Drowsy. Watercat's going to get the damage in, but it's early game. It's early game Zoe, so it's not the one shot that everybody should be feeling about. Second Wind has rotated his way up though. Adam Suki, nice dodge on the knock up. It is going to confirm the blue buff for OG Roach, and it should mean that Watercat wants to flash forward into Adam Suki, but the sleep is going to miss. That's a disaster for Watercat. And now Zalp, forced to be down here on his own versus the Rakan Zaya. It's really difficult for him to walk up and get farmed.
A very bold decision to flash for the full health trundle.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I could see it potentially if you land the sleep. Like, you have 4 people there, you can definitely collapse on him and get the kill. But it's just a matter of actually landing the sleep as soon as you flash. A nice knock up. Here's the Glacial Augment slow. Slappy's going to use his W to get out of the slow. Sun's not going to come through for OG Roach, but there's the slow from the passive. He flashes forward. There's the nullifying orb shield, shockingly enough. Abasuka's going to flash forward to confirm that kill. I don't know if he needed to flash, but he is going to flash to take it. Gemtop has the red buff on him. He's going to get the charge to go to get himself out of there. The slow from the Q, and Abasuki is not going to be able to follow up, but it is a 1-for-1 with First Blood going over to Gemtop.
Echo successfully got a Dark Harvest stack. Let's go.
Yeah, that's an early Dark Harvest. It's definitely not bad for him. Losing both of their flashes doesn't feel the best, but it's a flash for a Dark Harvest, Brock. It doesn't feel terrible.
Zoe actually managing to do a very good job at bullying Anivia.
Yeah, Anivia doesn't have that level 6 mark yet, doesn't have infinite mana, so she is fine. Interestingly enough, Leroy also opting for the Nullifying Orb. I've barely seen one of those in my games, let alone having 2 in the same game feels very weird.
Well, Nullifying Orb against Zoe.
I mean, the tiny magic damage shield, I guess, helps. But I feel like in most cases, you would just really rather have Mana Flow or Nimbus Cloak.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like the lowest value of the 3 rune choices in that tree.
A little bit of magic shield never hurt nobody.
Definitely doesn't hurt, but I don't know how much help it's going to provide. Gemtop is just happy to sit up here. He's fine taking the CS difference as he has done through this entire series. Randy Newman with the immediate all-in. Second one taking so much damage. The United is down on Zalp. Second one forced to flash away and get the heal from Zalp as well. That's the aggression power that this Zaya and Rakan can put down. And with Zalp picking up his first items, we can see it is going to be lethality.
Yay! We are going, of course, Mirror Mana, because it's just a fantastic item. The Anivia.
Randy Newman wants in, but Leroy has rotated down. There's the wall and the kill donated over. Randy Newman doesn't even burn down to the ignite. OG Roach, in the meantime, is going to look to get down onto this top side. The stun and the knockup are going to miss. Slappy, with a little bit of extra movement speed from the passive and those tier 1 boots, just sneaking his way around these ganks, but maybe he has overstepped his reach.
So we saw Rakan actually jump onto Xayah in order to shield himself to prevent his burn to ignite.
Yeah, nice use of the Guardian, and that bottom lane focus is going to ensure the first Infernal Dragon. Ocean Dragon second. I think Gemtop is probably just dead here if the sleep comes through. There's the Drowsy, but a nice unstoppable from Gemtop means that it's not going to happen. Really good use of the cooldowns there.
Wow.
Perfect
I didn't even
timing
think
on
about that.
OG Roach is back up top lane again, trying to protect Gemtop. Gets in onto Slappy, knows he doesn't have the sleep, gets the slow from the passive, but I don't think he has the damage to kill him. The Leroy going in onto Watercat has the passive, is going to flash away from the sleep. The hook is going to go wide, and the Leroy now is going to wall off second wind. Adamsuki is going to look for the follow-up, but there's no mana coming from the Leroy, so I don't know if Adam actually wants to take this 2 versus 1. There's the auto attack from second wind, but nothing else is going to happen.
A little bit of poking for fun.
A little bit of health bar trading back and forth for a little bit of funsies.
Yeah, Nautilus doesn't care. He has enough to go around.
Yeah,
Nautilus actually doing Hextech Flash for funsies.
Yeah, I think the Hex Flash is actually the correct choice almost every time on Nautilus because Flash is such an important tool for him, and you're not really using it from vision very often. Most of the time, you're using it from the bush just to get the jump on your opponent. So having the channel time on it doesn't really feel that bad.
Some cheeky hooks. I think this might be... Is this the first or the second game where Lamppost has managed to acquire first Drake?
I believe if my memory
I don't remember.
serves, and it
I don't know if they got it in
doesn't-
game 2.
I don't think they did.
Then it's first time they got it. First time.
Yeah, first dragon being for the I guess the earlier game team. I wouldn't exactly call them an early game team, but I would say they spike more around the mid game than IDS does, and IDS has gone, again, pure for the late game with the Zoe, the Ornn, and with the Jinx. Zal playing aggressively again, gets rooted up, taking plenty of damage. OG Roach is here again, but this Echo has just not been able to get these influential ganks off. He gets another Dark Harvest proc, but it feels like he's just really not doing much in this early game.
The Dark Harvest proc is important. It builds up.
Yeah, it's certainly not invaluable. But at the same time, it feels like already Adamsuki has managed to get more off, despite them having the same amount of kill participation.
I suppose such is the way of Hetrundle.
Nice Drowsy, but Watercat is sitting on the pillar. Does plenty of damage to Adamsuki now that he's got the magic pan. Here comes the call of the Forge God. Knock up onto Adamsuki, the flash forward from Watercat. Gemtop is going to take his second kill of the game now. Nice knock up onto the Leroy. Going to pop that one down. They should be able to donate the kill to whoever they please.
No one.
Somebody's got to take it. Somebody's got to finish off this Anivia. Nice two-man sleep from Slappy, but OG Roach is going to pick up the kill into the Leroy. It looks like they wanted to give it over to the Echo, and that should mean that the Rift Herald goes their way as well.
We have decided not to donate it at all. She can have life.
We decided that Anivia gets to get back up. It felt like a little bit of a greedy overfocus. The IDS really wanted to also turn on to Slappy and take him down, but it's also a Lilia. There's not a high chance that you get to kill her.
The Sleepy is a very powerful tool.
The sleep, the movement speed she gets from her passive, and also just like having tier 1 boots means that she's going to be really difficult to catch up when Echo doesn't have boots, and Ornn just now procced his magical boots.
I like Ornn going for Fimbulwinter.
Oh yeah, Fimbulwinter on tanks is exactly what you would expect. I wonder if Slappy is actually going to go for Fimbulwinter as well. He can proc the shield on his ulti, but that's really it. So I don't expect him to, but he is sitting on the tier.
I think he's probably going to go Seraphs for the
The healing of the CDR, I guess? The Seraphs is not the best item. It's certainly not in the best state at the moment. Generally, when you see tier, it's either on people who are really mana dependent, like Anivia, or it's on tanks. Adamsuki is up here, Gem top. Oh, nice interrupt onto the charge. Nice little bit of unstoppable coming out from Gemtop, but there's nothing doing there. Shutdown gold goes over to Adamsuki.
He's very good about using his unstoppable. It's just unfortunate he got caught out there.
Yeah, really nice interrupt from Adamsuki, using the pillar to stop the charge. Really well played from him. Second wind is still not level 6 yet. We're seeing the difference
Ooh.
that early Rome made, but OG Roach is down here again. Randy Newman spotted, but OG Roach is also on a ward, so I don't think there's going to be a gank coming through here.
She's being tough. Good. Ornn is gonna do his best.
Yeah, there's no early Rift Herald because IDS was able to take the early, take away the Rift Herald, which means that there's no early tower falling this time around. Watercat's gonna get another cleanse for the Anivia lane, which does not feel great. Plenty of damage coming through. If he had his Ignite up, waited just a little bit longer, I think that would have been the kill for certain. And for our third game in a row, we're gonna get the Cloud Soul.
Woo! Oh, we love it.
Watercat doesn't have his flash. Nice sleep. But OG Roach is immediately going to wake him up, which means that Watercat is going to die. Adam Suki has the subjugate down into OG Roach. Nice step away from the Super Mega Death Rocket. The burst is coming through. OG Roach misses his flash, though. Adam Suki doesn't have the damage just yet to get through him, though. OG Roach finally going to pick that one up.
We really love to see the Cloud Drake.
Second win. Nice hook onto Randy Newman. I think the Cloud Dragon actually this game is insanely good for IDS. Oh, Ornn wants those all in. There's the call to Forge God. The flash away, but he gets caught anyway. Nice positioning from Gem Top, but OG Roach taking plenty of damage from the Anivia. Finally gets the stun down. They're going to donate the kill over to Roach, and that's a killing spree for this early Echo.
Huge flash prediction.
That felt less like a flash prediction, more like the Leroy sort of flashed into it. Maybe was underestimating how far the Ornhorn would travel.
I mean, that, and it's also the width of the entire river.
Yeah, it feels like that's not an ability that you can really flash across. You have to flash away from it. He may have been expecting that Gem Top was going to position it closer to on top of him instead of using it more as a zoning tool, which ended up working in Gem Top's favor.
The Lilia hasn't managed to shut down Ornn as well as, not even really expected, just as well as hoped.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning that there is a 30 CS difference up there, along with the 2 plates that Lily has managed to grab. So she is sitting on plenty of gold over the Ornn. It's just a matter of, is that gold going to make the difference in how effective Ornn is going to be in these late game team fights?
No.
Probably not. But we'll have to see, because the Lily also have the same effectiveness in these team fights. With her AoE sleep, she has a similar style of gameplay where she is the engage for her team. She pushes flash QR and gets the engage for her team, similar to Ornn just pressing R.
So we have the Eclipse down for Xayah. Huge damage buff.
Randy Newman wants, and the flash is immediately denied by second wind. The charm does not land onto Zal, which means he's going to start free firing these auto attacks. A nice root on the second wind. Adam Suki bites down, picks up that kill. Zal
crunches through the
stack, looking for more Roaches here rotating in. Adam Suki doing plenty of damage to him. Ojiroach finally gets his shield up. Gonna have to use the Chrono Break to get himself back. Ojiroach still wants to go in though. There's the Feather's call from Zealot, takes him down. Zealot finally goes down. Ojiroach putting damage down on the Leroy, but he has his whole team behind him. Watercat, you're in trouble. You don't have flash, buddy. You are taken down as a double kill for the Zealot. And Ojiroach forced to run away, and it's a disastrous team fight for IDS.
I was just allowed to run around and stab everyone.
Yeah, Xayah really got to free fire in this fight. It felt like the focus was not on her at all.
The ability for Trundle just absolutely soak up some damage between his Q and his Divine. We're going to need to see some Grievous soon.
Yeah, Grievous, because Lilia is also going to be healing because she has opted for the Rift Maker as her first item. And with the win in the team fight, that is going to be the first tower taken in favor of Lamppost. And this is starting to look sadly reminiscent of game 2 and 3, where Lamppost shot really deep.
It's they just really like Cloud Soul.
Yeah, Cloud Soul apparently really good for them.
It's their good luck charm. Really just not seeing a bunch of gold in the way of IDS. Especially not needs to get focused a little bit more by people who don't hurt him as much as the Divine Trundle.
Ojiroach wants in on Randy Newman, but it's a Rakan. He's going to be fairly tanky enough. There's the Super Mega Death Rocket going a little bit wide, maybe a bit hopeful for that team fight to continue happening. But I wonder if this game is just going to slip out of IDS's control again. I would love to see them make some sort of comeback play, find the time to actually scale up. Gem top taking pretty aggressive trades, and he's not unhappy taking them in this top side. The Riftmaker healing is going to be nice for Slappy, but he doesn't have infinite mana.
I think we're just going to gradually lose control, especially if they can't.
Zealot might be caught out. There's the Feathers call, the Feather Storm to get away from the sleep. OG Roach throwing his mastery down, but he might be dead before he can toss it. Has to use the Chrono Break to get himself out of there. He's fine. A little bit early on the mastery flash, Roach. Maybe wait till you get the kill to throw that one out.
Cocky, and almost had the ability to back it up. Some hefty gold lead in that bot lane.
In for Ornn, but Watercat is caught out again, taken down. Here comes the Ornhorn. Maybe there's a possible team fight. A nice two-man knockup from Gemtop, but there's no team follow-up. There's OG Roach flashing forward to get the damage in. Knows that Zealot doesn't have the Feather Storm, but he gets picked up. Shutdown gold goes over to Zaya. Now Adam Suki on the front line doing as much damage with his auto attacks as he can, trying to get in onto Gemtop. Finally picks that one up. Second win, zoning out the Leroy. Is out of mana, but does not matter. Adam Suki takes a bite out of Zalp. It's a double kill for the Trundle, and that is an ace for the Lamppost.
Adam Suki just gonna beat the absolute hell out of Jinx real quick. Don't mind him.
He had the full lethal tempo stacked. He's got his Divine Sunder. He is 7-2. He is comfortably running this game.
He's having a blast and has a lot of gold in this pocket.
Yeah, he's probably sitting on, 1,600 gold. That's got to be fairly close to the Titanic Hydra. I think only about like 700 off, maybe 600, depending on how much farm he can pick up out of his jungle. Zaya's also hit the Collector. Leroy has finally gotten to his mythic item as well. This is starting to look worse and worse for IDS as this game goes on.
This Zaya is popping off. Zealot is doing a fantastic job just bullying Jinx and not.
Yeah, and I think despite the great performance that we saw in Game 1 from Zalp, it just has not been there for him on this Jinx. They've prioritized it in every draft, but the peel is not there. Zalp has just been left on his own in these teamfights to try and position and get the damage down. But Jinx can't do as much on her own. She needs a team behind her to really help her.
The main thing is Jinx isn't fantastic until about 4th item and past, and they haven't gotten to that point.
Yeah, she needs minimum 2.5, hopefully 3 items. 4 if she gets like to that point in the late game. But Lamppost has done a really good job sans that first game of making sure that the late game doesn't come. They've ended these games pre-30 minutes.
They're grabbing the Herald in hopes of going for a 3-peat.
Yeah, we'll see if they can just shut out what looks like the great start to the series from IDS. If they can just take it these next 3 games in a row, it was looking pretty good for Lamppost. Trundle is, again, 7-2. He's, like I was saying earlier, running this game. It feels like OG Roach just hasn't had the ability to have the same impact that he has. Second win, a good hook on Randy Newman, but not exactly the target that you want to be pulling into your team.
No.
With the second Herald pop, this is going to be this outer top turret going down, but Gemtop wants to find a fight out of it. A nice stun from OG Roach, gonna take down Slappy, maybe. Finally goes down. There's the drowsing, the 2-man sleep from the Lilia as her dying breath, but Adam Suki pulls the stats from the Ornn, and he is massive on this Trundle. Second one finally goes down. Zalp is trying to land the auto attacks in, but there is just no damage from this Jinx. OG Roach forced to limp away from this team fight. Watercat wasn't even there, and that is a team fight win again for Lamppost.
Trundle is just so outrageously huge whenever he can. That's the biggest issue with grabbing a super tanky support like Knot. If Trundle gets Knot's resistances, Trundle is as unkillable as Knot is, except for even more so because he has a huge amount of sustain.
Good sleep, but the Anivia passive is there, trying to get the damage in onto Randy Newman or onto this Anivia, but there's no kill to come through. Yeah, like you were saying, Ornn, if he's just able to put the Subjugate down onto the Ornn or the Nautilus, it just feels like he's harder to kill than they are.
Probably because he is.
Yeah, the extra healing coming through from the Divine Sunder and from his W and passive.
Really good. It's usually not something you notice, but The orange should make a habit of saving his charge for Anidia walls.
It's very difficult to do that, but now
It is very
IDS
hard
is
to do that.
making the bold call to just start the Baron as the recall's coming through from Lamppost, but they are immediately zoned off because Zealot is nearby. That felt like a bit of a desperation call from IDS, really trying to like potentially open up the game.
I'm curious if we're going to try as Lamppost to come take this Cloud Drake that's about to come up, or if we're just not going to care and push anyway.
I really hope that IDS doesn't contest this dragon. They are down so much gold. You might not be able to see it in game as we have the caster view, but you can feel it. You can hit tab and you can look at the items. You can see the difference of the AD carries. You can tell that you're down in this game. You don't have to contest this dragon. It's a cloud dragon. It's a single cloud dragon. You can leave it, but it doesn't look like IDS wants to do it. They're setting up some defensive vision. Leroy is looking for the pick. OG Roach is going to be set to sleep, but there's no team to follow up on it, so that's a bit of a waste of an ulti, but the dragon is being taken down in the meantime, and IDS is not even going to contest it. They're just going to let it go. Thank you.
What, you don't think they could have?
Them.
You don't think they could have contested it there?
I think being 7,000 gold down makes it, or not 7,000, but 6,000 gold down makes it a little difficult to contest. I am a bit disappointed that they didn't just like sit in the jungle and grab the farm that was there, but at the very least they didn't walk into a bad team fight. So you know what? Progress, we take those. We are here to see improvement.
This Zoe is not having a good time, but at the same time, not having nearly as bad a time as this Jinx and Nautilus.
Yeah, it feels like these were picked to be an impactful laning phase duo, but the Xayah Rakan has just shut them down in its entirety. One of Rakan's better matchups is into these engaged supports who want to like throw that singular hook in and try and take you down. These champions like Thresh, Pyke, Nautilus. But Rakan does this great thing of having two safe dashes with his shield. So if you interrupt one, he's just going to use the other. And even if you interrupt both, he still has his W to look for a counter engage or a re-engage. Adamsuki pops the subjugate onto Gem top. Second wind is here, but I'm not sure how much this Nautilus can actually do for him. Adamsuki 2v1 zoning the support in the top laner does not care.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the main difference for this bot lane, especially after
Roach taking lots of damage. There's a chrono break, huge damage onto Randy Newman. Gets the stun down as well. Here's the Ornhorn. Maybe this is the fight that IDS was looking for. Adamsuki knocked up. Zealot, plenty of damage onto second wind. Nice dodge away from the death charge as well with the Feather Storm. Watercat does plenty of damage to the two top and jungle from Lamppost. But again, it's just a fight win for IDS. Or not for IDS, a fight win for Lamppost, as it's been plenty of damage from Watercat, but Adamsuki, he's ignited. He has to actually flash away from that one. It was a fight win for Lamppost, but I think they may have overstepped a little bit and lost that early advantage that they had, especially when Watercat, out of nowhere, takes him down.
Zoe is an even harder late game carry than the others, and Zoe is just bad.
Roach. There's the sleep. Slappy gets to run away. Nice sleep timing.
Lots of control point down.
Oh, the stun is great from Leroy. Takes him down. OG Roach doesn't have the chrono break, but Suki doesn't have his pillar up just yet. So he's going to be able to walk away. Well, it was going to be a team fight win for IDS, finally. But they get picked at the end of it, which means it's now a 4v5 as this Baron is now up with the Zealot coming up in 4 seconds, and Watercat's not going to be up for another 20.
This has been a much worse game for IDS. I think Zealot is just significantly more comfortable with Xayah, and that's why they were banning him. But they got too annoyed with Slappy.
And it's crazy that Jinx has been left up all 4 games. Zalp has grabbed it all 4 games. This is one of the premier AD carries. If you're watching professional play at all, you see Jinx up, you pick Jinx. It's just how the game is right now. But how little impact Zalp has had in these like past 3 games has been insane.
Well, in this game, Trundle's just been mostly in the bot lane because it's just been free for him to kill Nautilus.
Yeah, I think that's been the story of all 3 of these games. Honestly, it's been a lot of Rakan getting caught. He's almost one-shot, but he gets out thanks to the Guardian Shield. Top is going to try and take Slappy on in this 1v1 on the bottom side, but Slappy has the Rift Maker and his passive, so I think he's going to be just fine taking these extended trades. Look at the damage coming out from these Qs. He's got the Demonic Embrace as well, so even after the trade is done, the percent health burn damage is big. But yeah, I think the thing has been that the junglers, OG Roach has to get himself out of there, has to run the Chrono Break to get away from the Subjugate damage. Zalp is here, he's got the red buff and he's got the auto attacks. This is the perfect time for Jinx to be auto attacking, but there's no damage coming through. Second Wind has to flash away from the feather pullback. Zalp is gonna finally get a kill, but no, the heal comes through from Zealot. Has to use the Feather Storm to get himself out of there, but that is protecting his jungler and no kills given over.
Randy Newman almost killed himself. Randy Newman was looking to engage, hoping that Zealot would come in and back him up again, and then I guess recognized that Zealot was not in a position to do that and decided against that plan.
Yeah, it's being pointed out in chat again, and I have to call out Zalp for this. PD, second item instead of LDR. We saw him go to it in the third game, and it looked good for him, despite how far behind his team was. But he's opted to go back to the Phantom Dancer, and now just doesn't do damage to this Trundle.
I don't know. I think they're just picking up the Jinx just because it's being left up. But this feels like someone where they've researched the...
Oh, Zalp losing his flash was really bad there, as Randy Newman is also close by. Doesn't look like they're going to engage for the team fight just yet, but they're setting up around this dragon, or around this Baron if they can just get the team fight win. Slappy is so fast with the Shirelias on the Cloud Dragon area. He just zooms around the map. But I think they're just going to leave Adam Suki to collect this dragon. And now, IDS, there's no fight to take. Just go to your jungle and collect some farm. Go to your top lane, collect some farm. Grab some wards around the Baron. Just be doing something other than letting this dragon die for free.
I'm a big fan of all the max health damage that Lamppost is bringing out. They've got...
Randy Newman wants in onto Watercat. There's the pull back from the pillar and the subjugate damage. Adam Suki's going to pick him up. Randy Newman will burn down to Watercat's Ignite, but Slappy's going to get a nice two-man sleep on the bottom side of this fight, looking to pick up damage onto OG Roach. In the meantime, Adam Suki and the rest of the team are pushing in onto the mid lane. Zalpa's going to get stunned up and deleted. No room for him to exist. OG Roach finally picks up Slappy on the bottom side of that fight. Adam Suki wants in, though. He's looking for kills. He wants the damage. Ornn is on the top side of the fight, though, looking to zone out this Xayah. Adam Suki is just too tanky to take damage, though. He's going to start to tank up the tower for his teammate Leroy. OG Roach maybe looking to punish it, though. A nice pull back. Leroy does have the Anivia passive. That was a weird flash from Adam Suki, but it's going to work. He's going to pick up the kill. Go legendary on this Trundle, and in the meantime, Zealot is just pushing down the mid lane tower as Top could not stop it.
A truly absurd amount of max health damage being brought. We've got Demonic Embrace on Lilia, and of course Lilia's natural kit. We've got Divine Sunder on Trundle. We've got Leandries on Anivia. We've got Eclipse even on Xayah. We just really don't want those tanks to have any fun.
Yeah, and this is how you counter Ornn. You make sure that his team, if they even get to late game, are so far behind.
You build 4 anti-tank mythics. That's all you gotta do.
Not even just the anti-tank mythics. We also see Zelda, instead of going for the Cerildas that you normally see out of Xayah, he's gone for the LDR. He knows who he's damaging in these team fights.
Xayah has actually picked up LDR faster than Jinx has.
Faster than Jinx has been able to. That's mean, but it's also true.
As the fourth item, by the way. A whole item ahead.
A whole, nearly 2 items ahead, actually. It's pretty close. Yeah, with a 7,000 gold lead and Cloud Soul on the Rift, it's not looking good for IDS. Again, they have the late game scaling. If they can make it that far, if the game gets to Elder Dragons, potentially they can make it. Top is level 15 on the Ornn. I'm not sure how I feel about his second item of the Abyssal Mask, but he's getting items in his inventory. He's Ornn. He's tanky. It's going to be good for him.
I think he's literally just getting Abyssal Mask because he knows that all their damage is coming from Echo and Zoe.
Yeah, it's not terrible. The item did just get buffed, but it's definitely not like what you expect to see out of Ornn. But now with Slappy threatening the bottom side, it is just going to be the Baron deleted by Lamppost, and you have to assume that they're going to use this Baron to end the game.
We only saw 2 Ornn items.
Oh, Second Wind and Top are here. I don't know what the turn was on that Ornn ulti.
Okay.
Are you good?
Okay.
In the meantime, Leroy and Zealot are going to be pushing down this middle inhibitor. OG Roach is looking for damage, but Randy Newman is marking him over the wall. Here's second win in Gem Top. Stun's not going to go anywhere. Sleep barely missing Zealot over the wall. Yeah, this is the position that IDS is in now. They have to sit in their base and play the defense game. Just sit and clear waves. Maybe look for a pick with the Zoe bubble over the wall, but there's just not a lot that they can do. Second win wants to engage on the Leroy, though. He doesn't have the passive, and that's a kill. Finally, going into the pockets of Zal. He's going to be looking to auto-attack the Trundle here. The Subjugate is on, but it's a little bit of a mixed fight. Shutdown Gold goes over to OG Roach. Not exactly who you wanted to see it on, but Shutdown Gold is Shutdown Gold. You'll take it if you're IDS. Now the remaining 3 members of Lamppost, they're looking to continue the push. They have 2 cannon waves in this bottom lane, but they're going to get cleared out pretty quick, and that's just a good set of picks for IDS, but it felt like it was less IDS getting the picks and more Lamppost running away with it. Here's the re-engage. Randy Newman is instantly deleted. I don't know if this is the widest re-engage, but Slappy's doing plenty of damage on this Lilia. Zealot has been teleported behind. He does have the Featherstorm available to him. He's going to delete Gem Top. He might actually be able to take this fight, but he doesn't get the Featherstorm off. Watercat picks up a triple kill for the fight, and that is an ace, finally, for IDS.
And we're going to use it to get a Cloud Drake.
In 45 seconds, which
In
means
45
that
seconds.
Lamppost will be respawned, which means
That's
they
okay.
don't get it.
That's okay. Zaya won't be there.
That's potentially
Sort of.
true. Her
If they do
respawn
it
timer-
immediately.
If they start it immediately and also want to go into the 4v5, because Gem Top also won't be there. But you know what? It's gold in their pockets. They got a team fight win. They were able to actually allow Jinx to sit there and auto attack. She finally has her LDR.
She
OG
got it.
Roach got a couple of Dark Seal stacks. He's feeling okay, but OG Roach is now potentially picked out, actually. The Subjugate is down. He's going to burn. He doesn't have the Chrono Break just yet. Yeah, he just gets picked off. And that's 6 seconds before Dragon, so that's Cloud Soul going over to Lamppost.
Okay, so I might have exaggerated. the Anivia is doing a truly huge amount of damage in these fights, just happening to not get kills.
Yep, that is Cloud Soul.
Doing like
for
700
Lamppost.
with her Qs.
Yeah, the Nivea, this is the scary thing with the Nivea in the late game. Even only sitting on 2.5 items, she does plenty of damage as the game gets later. She's one of those, I would call them sleeper carries, where they don't really show off a ton and they don't make flashy plays, but they are just a disgusting amount of damage. And
Zaya
speaking
look-
of disgusting, look at the gold lead for 80 carries.
Oh.
Jesus! That is 5,000 ahead for Zealot alone when his team's gold difference is 7,000.
It's mostly just Zealot.
Yeah, the other 2,000 is actually coming from Slappy versus Gem Top up there in the top side. Gem Top has finally finished his Thornmail. Oh, Watercat gets almost deleted. There's the charm coming through. Gonna finally give Shutdown Gold over to Zealot. Second one is gonna get picked off as well. That's 2 kills when they have a wave. That might just be the end of the game. Adamsuki starting to hit the inhibitor. Teleport's coming in from Slappy. Adamsuki wants in, flashes forward on the Zalp, but a nice flash away from Zalp as well. Now the team fight is going to start in earnest. OG Roach gets the shield onto himself. Nice Ornhorn onto 1, but where's the team follow-up? The Chrono Break does plenty of damage, but Anivia has the egg passive. It's another double kill for Zealot. Zalp has to sit at his Nexus Towers and watch as the enemy team is going to take the game away from him. The Featherstorm comes through. Ace!
It's okay.
It's
You
an
don't have to
unofficial
watch
pick to
Zealot.
kill for Zealot. The Nexus Towers will fall, and Lamppost are going to finish out this series 3-1.
Don't worry, you don't have to watch anymore, Zal. It's okay.
That was not only the unofficial penta for Zealot that I called out in the fight, but also a very clean set of 3 games for Lamppost. If we just ignore that first game where they slipped up a little bit, it looked really good for them.
This chat is mean.
Chat's a little mean, but you know what? They're chat. That's what they do. But speaking of chat, thank you guys for joining us for this series. It was an impressive showing from Lamppost. I think with a shaky start, they came out to a very strong finish. All the players looked good. I don't think any particular player on Lamppost had a down performance. I think it was just IDS not being as good on the day.
I was very impressed with Slappy's performance across all 3 matches. He had a couple of hiccups where he decided to just kill himself for funsies.
Yeah, even
But-
in this game where he had minimal impact, 1, 4, and 6, it just looked good because he was able to play in the side lanes, and the fights that he was taking part in were impactful fights. He was able to get the multi-man sleeps off. But yeah, Lamppost looking really good on the day. I'm not sure exactly how the finals is going to match up, but I'm excited to see them in the next best of 5.
Minimal impact except one's down 50 CS.
We
Yeah.
do have confirmation that Mingos have won their game against Reina King, so that means finals is going to be between Lamppost and the Mingos.
Oh, we get Adam Suki, the revenge match against Mingos. Oh, I cannot wait. Well, we'll have to see that. I'm assuming next week at some point.
So exactly a week from now, it would be on the Tuesday. Streamed on this channel right here, probably around, I want to say 7 o'clock, because I don't want to go on for a potential full 5 games. And go until midnight, because I have classes in the next day, but hey. It is how it is. I mean, we did decide to have Tuesdays as our sort of default day, and everyone expressed that they wanted to have the playoffs on Tuesdays as well, so hey, we're making it work.
We'll make it work. Again, thank you to Tallbird for showing up on the day and casting with me. It's been a pleasure casting with you as always. And Rex, thank you for being the man behind the scenes, showing up when it matters, being the person taking care of everything behind the scenes. We really appreciate you.
No problem. But let's go ahead and just throw it off into the end. Thank you all for joining us for this semifinal between IDS and Lamppost, as well as if you checked over onto PQ's Twitch channel as well, they did Mingos versus Reigning Kings, all great time. And well, let's just go out one more time before we go into the finals for GRLCS season 17. So thank you all for watching, and we'll have you we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Y'all take care.
And we're good. Good cast, good cast. They have a really good team that knows how to play late, but like I don't know, they didn't put Watercat on like something that's I felt like would scale really well, honestly. I'm surprised that they didn't. No, I'm surprised they did. I'm surprised they didn't do more of their stat check sort of things, because they've done that like all season, where they just like, all right, we feel pretty good. Let's go force a Baron. They never did that. Like there were never a point in the game where they really felt like let's. It's that simple. Yeah, so, and that's just super unfortunate for their team. It's like they didn't have that sort of thing. It was like, okay, I feel like we're good enough to stat check them. Alright. Alright. You too. See you later, pretty. Alright, well, know, I realized I still had my mic not muted while the stream was ending. That's unfortunate. But hey, I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything. We were just talking about like post game and talking about the game, a little bit. But since we're here and my mic was not muted, how about we do a little something fun and then just jump into chit chat with, because I see all of Lamp already in there, plus a couple extra members. Let's jump in and see what happens. Hello, hey.
Okay.
Wait, Slappy, you are in Lamp. Why are you meeting?
That's Gabe.
Okay, you're right.
That's unslappy.
Oh shit, I'm still on lamp too.
Get out of here, Tien.
Everyone, change your name to Lamp real quick.
If everyone just
Bottle
changed their
Einstein.
name to Lamp, I can't tell the difference.
I didn't even change my name. I just want to say that.
All right.
Yeah, he just used to be on lamp.
True. All right. So how about we do a little impromptu interview with how about these games went? I guess to stay a little on brand with how I've done with a lot of these, how about we go over for a couple drafts? So let's start off with the first one. I believe that one was the one where you had a Renata on your team, right? That was the first game you guys lost.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got
Yeah.
it.
That was the game with Renata, Silas, Jarvan,
There
and
it is.
whatever ADC and mid lane played.
There it is. All right, let
Oh,
me
it's a haze.
pull it up on stream. Yeah, I mean, so I think that was the first time we saw Renata on stream, and honestly, I don't think we, at least the casters themselves didn't really think of it as a sort of a bad pick. It felt, useful at times, but I don't know if it was. What were you guys thinking necessarily? Because you did pick it around second phase, in alongside of the Ezreal, and you're picking into a Jinx and Nautilus. What were you guys were really thinking whenever you were thinking? It was like, let's bring out the Renata.
I just think that champion's awesome. If I troll like half as hard as I did, I'm pretty sure the Renata ults would have just won that game.
And
It's really good into hook
specifically
champs,
good
apparently.
in Nautilus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the idea. They picked not. Let's pick
Yeah,
Renata.
it's really good against anything that gets close on the engage because you can throw whoever's there into their ADC if the ADC tries to walk up to engage. Otherwise, you just throw the support backwards and then they're stuck.
It was a good idea in theory, but that the Renekton, or not the Renekton,
The Rengar, yeah.
Rengar
Rengar got too far
kinda killed
ahead,
everybody. Yeah.
and
kinda
none of
just
us could
emptied
really
the
deal with
Rengar.
it.
Yeah.
Very
Cat
fair.
if-
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we saw the Rengar just kind of popping off that game. And so yeah, I guess what happened with that one, I suppose, would be down your alley about that. I mean, you picked the J4, very strong, probably like one of the stronger junglers at the moment here, but you just kind of let the Rengar slip through your crack.
That champ's kind of garbage. Also, our problem this week is we haven't played in 2 weeks, and this is the only league that I play. I don't play any league in my off time, so I was a little rusty in game 1. Happens every week, honestly.
I don't know if you've seen, but Slappy's been on the grind though. He's put on his carry pants for this.
Couldn't
Slappy's
tell
been
in game
running
1.
it down, man.
True, actually. I take it back.
Hey, I'm still climbing though.
Still climbing though.
True.
He's about to be too good for us.
I mean, if we want to talk a little about Slappy, how about we jump into whatever game 2 drafts was? If anyone doesn't know, it's the game with the Tom Kench. That was actually pretty strong, but I think the most notable would be Leroy with his lead on Ari for that second game. I wasn't exactly present during this game because I had to do a couple other things, but from what I've saw, at least from the end, I think you guys just managed to dodge away from Lysandra Nocturne ganks in the mid lane and somehow came out on top of that. So I guess can you give me a little insights about what that game was really about?
Well, we know that when I go like 0-3, 0-5 or whatever, and I just run it down on Ashe, we just end up winning. So that's just
Yeah.
that's
That's
just
mentality.
what happened.
Yeah.
And I
We-
mean, it
think
helps
we hit
when the
every
team
arrow.
knows to put me on Tom Kench because it's impossible to like hard int on that champion, and then we could just rely on Leroy to carry his Ari.
Yeah.
Suki obviously did his job.
Agreed,
but-
Slappy.
So, and also the Tom Kench just made the Nocturne and Lysandra picks completely useless in the team fights. They just couldn't play.
I
Yeah,
don't
Slappy-
understand why they picked Renata. Like,
Slappy
'cause-
wanted to play like Lilia or something.
They just thought it looked cool after game one, man.
Said, hey, you
Yeah.
dipwad,
True.
Tom Kench is open.
They
They were trying to do the thing where like, oh, he's like an eagle pick. It's like, oh, you pick this first game, I'll pick
Yeah.
a second game and show you how to play it, and then the same exact thing kind of happened.
yeah.
Also, Nocturne is a hilarious self counter against Fully Bear. That was
Yeah,
kind
they're
of curious to pick into me.
I got what they were doing at draft. I got the idea of it, but
I didn't.
well, it was follow up the
They just needed to ban Tom
Lysandra,
Kench.
right?
It was next
uh,
time.
Yeah,
Like,
that
your comp can't work into Tom Kench at all.
well, we tried to pinch top lane as hard as we could, and if the Malphite was the answer, then the Polywog was just gonna make his life miserable.
I
Tom
just feel
Kench is
bad
also
for
the
his-
only champion I can play top, so I don't know why they wouldn't ban it.
True, actually.
They banned it last time. I just feel bad for Zalv having to play Jinx 4 games in a row.
Yeah, they wouldn't drop that.
He was asleep at the wheel in game 4 for sure. I would be too.
I imagine. I mean, it was first picked every single time. You like you both wanted to be on each respective sides, and because of that, IDS always was like,
That's
all right,
not entirely true.
I mean, you were all both. You picked. I mean, they
Yeah,
started
against my
playing
will,
side,
but yeah.
Zealot can't play red side for some
No,
reason.
I
yeah.
have
Locked
like a
Gamer.
6% like lower win rate on red side than blue side.
That's
The strat is out, guys.
Oh
but yeah.
no. Shush, dude.
Yeah, but my Lilia though. Right? Can we talk about that?
Yeah.
Calm down, Slappy. I know you're excited. We'll
That
get
was your
there.
worst game, Slappy.
It definitely was.
Yeah, but that's
Definitely
my
was
best
my
champion.
worst game.
Like I
no.
said,
Drag that champion up to other people in hopes they ban it.
his back
The
was
rest of my
hurt.
team hasn't banned it yet.
His back was hurting after the first 3 games. He had
Yeah,
to
man.
take a break.
And then moving on over for game 3. This is the game with the Fiora that kind of just became a
Slappy
monster.
Gappy.
Just kind of
Slappy
Gappy.
Gappy.
that was indeed. I would say definitely that was a little bit of a slappy gap with that. I mean, the last pick for Fiora, you saw the Mundo and you it just literally ran away with the game.
Yeah.
Well, I knew
we
they
can-
wouldn't camp top because they'd never camped top previously. Like,
They were
so
very aggressive bot side.
I was
with it.
allowed to just play forward, zone them off of every single CS possible, and just get a lead that way.
We can ignore
I
the
also let my
level 1
big brother
flash
play
dive.
on the
Oh,
on
yeah.
the account that game.
That was yeah, honestly quite the spectacle. Still had the Ari, so and I honestly I still feel like Ari's just a generally good champion this patch. Even yeah, even if you decide to go either Luden's Tempest or Everfrost for more CC in your kit rather than damage, I feel like she just still does insane amount of damage, similar to how Corki does. There is a question I did get from Etsdom, if you care to listen about it. He once asked, what do you think the score would be if he was still on the mid lane for IDS?
3-0 IDS, not even close. I don't think we could even manage to take a game to 25 minutes against him.
No.
Wow.
Actually, just too huge.
It would have been rough. I mean, you see this guy, his presence on anything that he plays is quirky. He doesn't even have to wait to scale. Yeah, his Akali is obviously legendary. He'll just hop in the jungle and play Jarvan, make OG Roach go mid and play Lulu, and I don't know. It's just not winnable against this guy.
All right, and then rounding it all off with game 4. Let me grab this one and put it on stream. But you guys managed to get the classic Zyricon duo. Did you guys have anything like in specifically mind whenever you're picking what champion, like what bot pick? Because all 4 drafts you did decide at least do the ADC, but you decided to go for both Zaya and Rakan for this phase? Anything changed up, or were you guys just like, just go ahead and pick bot lane while I think about the rest? Since they're always picking Jinx first, you know, you just
Yeah,
want
I
to
was
decide the
mainly
matchup.
just bored, and I didn't want to play Ashe again.
Yeah,
And
they
then
banned Xayah games 1 through 3.
We screwed up our bans this game too.
oh yeah, we meant to ban Ornn, but our mid laner, our drafter, our coach, he ended up banning Orianna, and we're like,
oh crap! Yeah, they got Ornn that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Orniana.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, close enough.
that's exactly.
Yeah.
We
And,
just we picked Xayah because they didn't ban it, and then we're like, well, what goes with Xayah?
well, we wanted to pick maybe Volley, but you know, our jungler was bitches about.
Our
He was
jungler
also
said
bored
no more.
picking.
Yeah, no more.
Picking jungler. Even though Volley's a fine second pick there.
We
but
could have
whatever.
gone Ashe Volley again.
Okay, I'll
just didn't want
just not 1v9 on Trundle next time. Bully Bear doesn't do that.
To
He's
be
not half as
fair,
hungry.
That's
the
true.
Trundle was
Yeah, that Trundle popped off.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Being
but
able-
who got the unofficial penta? That's all I'm.
Who got more kills?
Ooh.
True had less deaths. Better KDA.
You know, you would have had 0 deaths if you built Maw.
That's not even
That's
true.
probably true, actually. Didn't Zoe
Oh.
pop you twice?
Yeah,
I would have had one less death if I didn't want to make Leroy feel better by flashing in mid after he died.
Oh, we
just
captain.
kind of got bored and started running it down.
The piece of shit.
Yeah,
And
I
when I
mean,
say we, I mean my team.
you guys even did the thing where I say this is like an IDS thing because they've been doing it like pretty much all split so far, where they just like run at Baron and see if the other team reacts or you get a free Baron. You guys kind of did that, but you guys were just like so far ahead that if they wanted to try to stat check you, I think it would just gone out this pretty much the same way because I mean the Trundle was so far ahead, so then
Yeah,
you could just
one
ult.
1v5'd it.
I mean, you could have just Trundle ulting
Yeah.
the Ornn just takes all of his resistances, and Nivea just slowly burning away the rest of their HP while Xayah just hits them with all that front-loaded damage.
This man wasn't even ulting at the beginning of the fight. He was ulting their support after the fight to clean up.
Yeah, by the time I could actually TP to a fight from like the other side of the map, the fight was over.
Yeah. I think maybe some fatigue set in because
Yeah, then generally how it goes with best of 5.
Yeah,
But,
I could feel it.
All right, so how do you guys feel about this whole series as a whole? As a final question, what do you guys think about it? And what do you think about your opponents coming up? It's gonna be Amigos versus Lamp.
Yeah, I mean, that one was for my boy XDM. A lot of behind the scenes stuff on why he got kicked off when he was the star player. IDS, you did it to yourselves.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, and Mingo's 3-0 for sure.
Yeah,
For
it's for sure Mingo's 3-0.
Oh, I mean, this Adam Suki, the check we wrote him at the beginning of the season, it's pretty much used up by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was only contracted for 12 weeks.
The sleeper agent activates next week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I honestly,
I'll
I'm
be-
very looking forward to the 4v6 game next week.
I will
He
be
does-
wearing both of my Mingo's jerseys.
Oh my god.
All right,
You didn't
well,
tell me you had two, bro.
well, thank you guys for the little impromptu interview at the end of this stream here.
Thank you, Rex.
I hope you guys have a good night and see you next week.
Oh wait, one thing. If
What's
I
up?
hard carry the next series, please interview me and not these.
He's
guys.
gonna shit talk he's gonna shit talk us.
I know.
Come on,
My
bro.
last exam is on like the Sunday or whatever, and so I have 2 days to actually play this terrible game.
God,
All right, have fun.
That matters, man. Mingos suck. Just show
True.
up and you'll win.
True, actually.
This game is terrible.
Let's have a clean game, Gabe.
All right. Well, it was our interview with Lamppost. A little impromptu, a little bit of fun, just poking at what they were thinking with their whole drafts and whatnot. But yeah. Thank you all for tuning in for a little bit of that last whoopsie for me not muting my mic earlier. But I mean, still got an interview out of it. So hey, Fog.